Alright, and welcome back to What Do You Believe?
I was working on that all week.
Sweet. Today I have Mr. Ryan Thor and Prince Dude Man.
That's your cue.
What's up, Prince Dude Man? He's so cute. Look at him. Look at that face.
Oh my gosh. You got to go meet some celebrities last night.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. Hang out with Christian Slater.
Oh no way.
Glenn Close. Jonathan Price.
Nice.
Yeah. Grew up with watching Christian Slater, so it was like.
Oh yeah, dude. I love Christian Slater.
There's a new movie they just.
Yeah, I love Christian Slater.
Yeah, I know.
I need to work on that, I guess.
Yeah.
This is my first attempt.
Okay. We won't make you do any more impersonations. So.
Thanks.
Yeah. You take a swing anytime, though.
Yeah, thank you. So what was the function for?
It was for a new film that's coming out called The Wife.
Ah.
Go see it. It's awesome. It's like any demographic, any age group everybody would like the movie. It's really, really interesting. Beautifully done, The Wife. Yeah.
Any kind of brief synopsis you can give us?
How to give the synopsis without giving anything away? Yeah, it's a husband-wife relationship, and he's receiving a Nobel Peace Prize for his literary works, and you got the son and the daughter, and it's a typical.
Is it based off a true story?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But I mean, the director Bjorn, I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Bjorn. But Bjorn. R-U-N something. I want to say like Runjan or something. But anyway, he did an immaculate job of his art department. Like they recreated the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony with the king, and apparently like the king actually sent his medals and stuff to be used in the wardrobe, and the Nobel Peace Prize meant like they gave them everything they needed to recreate this scene.
Wow.
Yeah, so
it's legit, authentic kind of stuff.
Spectacular, but it's an independent film, as well. So they kept joking like, independent films that almost never get made, especially when you have big names like that in an independent film. But it was just a really amazing movie all the way to the end with some real heavy duty twists in there, and so good that it like literally could be a sequel. I don't think they can do that, but it could be. And
this is Hollywood, so like if the first one makes money at all, they'll be like, oh, let's make another one.
That's right.
They made some money. Well, I want to make some more money. Let's make another one. Like that's the formula. It's like, oh, and then you end up like ripping everything that was so good and gracious and holy about the first one.
That's right.
It's like, oh my God, this movie has changed my life. And then the second one's like, God, it's tearing it apart. Especially all the Star Wars crap. Oh my God.
Awful. That has gone to the dogs. Like literally.
It is.
Yeah, I went home for Christmas. I think it was Christmas before last No, it was last Christmas.
This past one, yeah.
And my mom's like, let's go see Jedi, the
Yeah,
Last Jedi. And I'm like,
Same thing.
I'm really not interested. But she wanted to see it, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell my mom, no, sure, I'll go see it. And then they got to the sea cow with the udder teat squirts. He milked the sea cow. I'm like, what is this nastiness? Like, this is just, what am I watching?
It's humor. Oh, no, it's stupid.
Yeah, the whole thing was it was awful.
Dude, it gave me so much hope, though. I'm like, dude, if people are getting paid millions of dollars to make this shit, oh my God, I can be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going back to North Carolina. Like, have full faith.
Yeah.
Without a doubt that me and even my family and people that I know can make some stuff that, like, way surpasses that. Because mainly what you need is writing. Like a good script. And, like, I feel like the writing was crappy.
Oh, the writing was awful. The whole thing was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't really any, I like the special effects, I like some of the fighting scenes, but for the most part, like, I would not have missed not watching that movie at all.
I'm Luke Skywalker, I can I can be a ghost and nobody knows I'm a ghost, but I'm here and I do all this shit as a ghost in the form of a ghost, but I'm not a ghost. But it's like, man, that's some far-fetched shit.
And
like,
then
so, like, I'm all about sci-fi, but you have to do it within the realms of the universe, you know. Even, like, okay, with the Force and all that kind of crap. Like, come on, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, guys.
Oh, there's symbolism in there. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we might have to move your car and take a little break.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I didn't know you were parked right there. That's my neighbor's spot.
Oh, I thought it had a C on it, so I thought it was parked.
It's E.
E. All right.
I'm parked in.
To be continued.
Yeah. Let's take one little break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Yeah. We had to take care of some parking situations, but it's all clear now, and we can get back to our subject.
All good.
So the main subject that we were going to talk about today is this HAARP situation.
HAARP, well, weather control in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, HAARP is one tool. So is the whole geoengineering.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, HAARP is huge. And again, the main thing is not the camera I'm talking to. The main thing people are not doing is researching for themselves. Like this, we can talk all day and we can present facts as much as we want to, but until people have enough intelligence to sit down and spend an hour, instead of an hour on Instagram or something, spend an hour saying, what is HAARP? High Altitude Aurora Research Project. What is that? Why does that matter to me? Why does control...
Does it really exist?
Right.
Why would people even say that word if it didn't exist? Right?
Right.
So if it either does exist or doesn't exist. Does it exist? Why, yes, it does.
Yes.
And you can... you sent me this video. I'll put a link to the video below that Ryan sent me. About this guy sent an email or a letter to the State Department, and he was like, "Hey, I want to know all the information because we're supposed to have this Privacy Act, or
FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
Freedom is yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like taking away privacy, pretty much. It's because we pay for these organizations to conduct these experiments, so It should be our information.
It should already be available to everybody. Yeah,
like a stockholder, because we are like if you buy stock, you own a piece of that company, so you're able to see their numbers, right, and then go to their stock reports and all that kind of stuff. Well, we're paying money, we're paying taxes into the United States. That's a corporation.
Yeah,
and we own stock in it.
Right.
So we should know where our money's going.
That's another thing people probably won't take the time to do, but you need to research USA Inc. USA Incorporated. USA is a corporation. They did incorporate it. That's why there's U.S. Code. Code is a word for corporation. Yeah, you're right. It should all be available, but instead we had to pass some special law for Freedom of Information Act that says you can go and pay money and make all these specific requests. You can wait like 3 months, and they'll send you some information with some of it blacked out.
Yeah, I saw that. Dude, when I was looking at the video, and like he opened up the package and he was going through it, and like all this was blacked out, and I'm like, that doesn't look like
freedom of information.
Yeah, it looks like you're censoring. And I totally went straight to 1984. Yeah, like my brain, I was like, oh my god. I was like, this is it. It's literally happening right now.
It is happening
exactly verbatim how he said it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you look at all of these, I mean, through the years, they have given information. There have been books that have been written, the Technotronic Era, United States Role in the Technotronic Era by Brzezinski, which is the book after, like he has a whole series of books. And when you read them, they tell you exactly what is happening. They talk about dumbing down the children by fluoridating the water. They talk about spraying the atmosphere. They tell you what they're doing by lowering education to below a 6th grade level.
Right.
They tell you that.
And making everything so easy and convenient at the same time.
Right.
They're pretty much keeping people at a child state.
Exactly.
So they can manipulate them easier.
And if they make everybody, you can't have a socialistic state unless everybody's addicted to the social programs. You know?
Right.
That's what socialism and communism is.
You can't have any free thinkers out there that go against the narrative.
That's right. That's right. And you hear George Carlin talk about it, and people go, "Ha, that's funny," and then they go on with their life, and they don't check it out. And it's like, why don't you research why all these kids are so stupid? Why don't you research why there's $1 trillion in college debt, and 12 million kids and I say kids, 12 million young adults are still living with their mothers.
I mean, I technically should be living with my parents to pay off the amount of debt I have through college loans, like, cause it doubles through the interest. Like right now, I owe like maybe 35, and by the time I'm done, it's close to 60 or $70,000. I'm like, you pay twice for your education, pretty much, and it's like, where's that money going? You know what I mean? It's like I'm investing in all this, and is that and I also, like, I mean, I could have done better in school. I could have partied less. I could have, I mean, there's all these other things that and other people, that factors that happen in their lives. But most of the ballers and shakers that I know of are like the jobs, they go to school for a little bit and then they drop out and they create their own company. And then you got the, what's his name? Microsoft guy, Bill Gates. Like,
Satan himself.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's the chief funder of this Common Core stuff that's continuing to destroy the children. Common Core is the scariest thing on the planet besides the weather control that we're talking about.
I agree.
And he's putting millions and millions and millions of dollars in the Common Core because it is really dumbing down the kids. They're teaching them at 8-year-olds. They have 8-year-olds taking 8-hour tests. What's an 8-year-old doing taking an 8-hour test?
That's
well,
ridiculous.
they want to program these 8-year-olds to sit down at an 8-hour job.
Right.
So that the younger they are, the longer they'll be indoctrinated from 8 years old, that I sit here, I work, I do data entry, all service jobs.
It's just like religion. They say teach the kids young. So it lasts throughout their lives.
That's right.
And that's what they're doing. They're programming them, pretty much.
Yes. Your brain, when you're born, is an empty computer. That's how they created computers, by mapping it off of the human brain.
Yeah.
And it's an empty hard drive, So you start loading bits and pieces on it at a time. And that's why they want to get them when they're really young, when they don't have any, thoughts or thoughts of their own. And they want to be the ones. So they get all the parents working over here. Parents are busy working. You put them in a preschool. They start indoctrinating them in preschool to all their ideals and getting them ready for what their place in life is going to be, Yeah.
I think that opens up a great spectrum for like charter schools. Because I feel like, especially with YouTube and all this kind of stuff that's coming out there, people are able to educate themselves independently. But you can start at a school and send those lessons out live, every single day. And you can get people to pay subscriptions for those schools and stuff like that. I think that's where the future of education is.
Oh, it is. It's definitely. They're paying teachers minimum wage now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And teachers are simply monitors to make sure the kids stay on the computer and learn what the computer is telling them to learn. So, but who puts the programs into the computer? It's your Common Core assholes. So, and I understand what you're saying. Like, you can put your information on YouTube, but the problem is that, again, the majority of including charter schools go, they have to follow under, federal guidelines if they want to be a school. And, there's certain things that they have to teach or else they don't get accredited. And
Right. It's still under the laws and guidelines of the government.
Exactly. Whereas they need to eliminate that part of it.
It's like, all right, just who is getting the jobs once they graduate and who's making the most money? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Who's innovating? Who's changing the world? Mm-hmm. I think that's what should it all be based off of. Is like, if you have an educational system, like, what are you producing? What kind of people are you producing? What are they doing for the world? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's lots of statistics and data on that too, which is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I just told you, 12 million young adults living at home with mom. They have 2-3 jobs. So what they do is they count those 2-3 jobs, and say, well, unemployment's, higher than you thought because one person is working 2-3 jobs,
Yeah,
where you
without a
have
doubt.
5-6 other people that aren't working at all. So unemployment's more like around 40%. Like, it's astronomical. And all you got to do is go out there and look around and talk to people and find out that you have people with doctorate degrees that are making minimum wage because their doctorates are obsolete. So the idea of going to college now is you're a fool if you're planning on going to college.
Well, I mean, you got doctors and pharmacists and all the...
But they're not even innovators anymore. They're applying, like doctors, for example. I have a little bit of a background with rehabilitation and working with people, improving their health, getting off pills. And you have allopathy and homeopathy, naturopathy, using herbs and food to cure the body.
I got you on that. But there's some shit that, all right, you need a fucking doctor.
I want you break a bone.
And,
sure.
Or I need I need a bypass.
Yeah.
Or I ruptured my brain because I fell off
my
bypass.
9 out of 10 times, in a matter of weeks, if you cut out the meat, cut out the sugar, cut out the animal fat, you won't need a bypass. Your body will heal it. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if you go and research, like Dr. Esselstyn, who was Bill Clinton's doctor, he'll tell you right now, he's like, you don't need a bypass. He's like, you need to get out of the way and let your body heal itself. But first, you have to cut out all the toxins, and most people will not cut out the toxins. Yeah. I have one of my best friends from Ohio. His dad just had like 50% of his colon taken out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And I wanted to say something and talk them because I've done Skypes before with other people and help them. I've had stage 4 people who are now in remission from cancer altogether, 22 liver tumors down to 2 liver tumors, just by making natural adjustments to their diet, cutting out sugar altogether, going on juicing only.
I think sugar
fasting.
is like horrible.
Yeah, if you hate someone, give them sugar.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's so funny. Like that's what we do for Valentine's Day.
Right.
I love you, baby. Fucking die.
That's right. That's right.
I love you to death.
But so anyway, I was telling you, he had 50% of his colon taken out, and then so after the fact, then it was, because I couldn't say anything right before the surgery. I didn't want to freak everybody out. And so I'm like, you know what, they're not going to listen to me. I know they're not going to listen to me anyway. And that's exactly what my experience was. I sent them a bunch of information. I said, look, I have other people that have helped with this, knowledge. And I didn't come up with the knowledge. I'm passing it on from other people who have had success. And they wrote back to me, that's way too extreme. I'm like, what? Eating nuts and seeds and legumes and fruits and vegetables. Being natural, eating electrical food that our bodies are 100% electrical, which will tie in with the weather control stuff in a minute. But I said, just going all natural, that's more extreme than fucking cutting out 50% of your colon? Are you what? These people are so brainwashed.
And the money it costs to cut that colon out.
Yeah.
Bro. Like, oh my gosh.
But here's the kicker. This is what made me just like I was like, okay, bye. Good luck to you. And I literally hung up because am I talking too loud?
You're just peeking a little bit. You're good. I fixed it.
Sorry,
you're good.
I was getting excited.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Keep on. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So just tell me not to peek early.
No.
So the kicker was, though, after we had this entire conversation, was she goes, that's way too extreme. I said, well, look, that's how you fight cancer. And she's like, he doesn't have cancer. I went, what? Wait a minute. What is this entire conversation? Like, for months I've been thinking about you guys because you said he had cancer and he had to have his colon. You took 50% of his colon out. She's like, oh yeah, he didn't have cancer. And I'm like, well, what did he have? She goes, oh, he was precancerous. I said, I'm precancerous. You're precancerous. He's precancerous. We're all precancerous. I said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? She's like, well, he had polyps. I'm like, are you kidding me? You had minor abnormalities within the inner wall of your colon and precancerous. Get the fuck out of here. I'm like,
Well,
okay, I've got to go.
I'm not quite sure of that situation, but
It's exactly what
it's
it sounds like.
like I
Doctors
understand.
diagnose precancerous and cut things all the time.
I've been in a situation where I had this horrible appendix pain one night. It came out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. And I went to the emergency room, and I was like begging them. It hurt so bad. I thought I had
Sure, it
appendicitis.
wasn't a kidney stone.
I'm not sure what it was. Like I totally thought like I had appendicitis at first because it was like excruciating pain.
Oh, I know.
And I was like,
I've had a
oh
kidney
my
stone, so-
god.
Right.
And
Shoot me.
yeah, I went and they actually did a great job. They got me back there and had a doctor come see me, and like at the time I was hurting really bad. And then like I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I started praying and it went away.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
That's not crazy.
I swear to God. And then the doctor was like, "Oh, I'm going to get a surgeon to like come look at you and make sure it's not appendicitis, right?" And then the surgeon came down and he's like pushing on me. It's like I was still like a little tender, but like it wasn't as hurt. It didn't hurt as bad. And then the surgeon was like, "Yeah, I think we need to go ahead and take it out." You know, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, and I said, "Hold on." Like, dude, like he was 110% down to cut me right then and there. Yeah. He was like down to cut, and I was like, you know what? And I thought about it, and like, and my mom's
my shoes?
yeah, my mom's a nurse, and she's been a nurse like my whole life. And I'm thinking about, I'm like, all right, so appendicitis, what do I know about appendicitis? It's like, it's a bacteria disease. I was like, I should be like running a fever or something that. I wasn't running a fever. I was like, I wasn't sweating. I was like,
and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Once
I was
you have
like,
a flare up, it doesn't.
Yeah. I was like, I was starting to feel better. I was like, I don't know what it was, but it's like, it's not appendicitis. Like, you're not going to fucking cut me. And it's like, I pretty much like just got up and walked out of that place.
Yeah.
Because it freaked me out.
Yeah, it should.
It freaked me the fuck out, dude. I just like, and then they send me a bill. I'm like,
right.
I'm like, fuck you guys.
Right.
Like,
for like $15,000.
No, it was like for $500. And at the time, I was like, and still like totally broke. So.
I guess you didn't do any tests or anything like that. You just stopped in, and then it went away. Well, see, and that's what it sounds like. A kidney stone. It sounds like it started to pass one, and then the pains went away because it comes in waves, and then it dies down, it goes away, and you pass the thing, and they can be as little as like, half a millimeter, as big as like, 5, 6, 7, 8 millimeters, and which need to be cut out. But you can have it come on, and then it goes away, and then you pass it, and you don't even know you pass it unless you're looking for it in the toilet.
Dude, I felt like there was somebody ripping my insides out with a knife,
that's
dude.
What that's what it feels like.
It was horrible.
So I have a couple clients that are ER doctors, and one of my ER doctors had a pregnant woman who said having her baby was easier than her having kidney stones. Kidney stones are no joke. It feels like you're dying. Yeah,
it was bad. And then like it kind of like went after a couple hours after being in the thing, it just went away.
Yeah, that's what happens. Just all of a sudden, it's over.
The surgeon is like, yeah, I still think we need to cut you. No, sir.
I call them the white coat Nazis.
Sir.
I call them the white coat Nazis.
And from then, I was like, I've always been very suspicious.
I had a kidney stone like 6 years ago, and then I had another one actually about a week and a half ago, which is ironic. We're talking about this because it was at 1 a.m. I woke up. I was like, oh no. What? No, God. And I've been detoxing my body for the last 8 months. So, I don't know if that's something that helped dislodge it and get it moving. But all of a sudden it was on, and I knew it was happening. And I made my way to unlock the door. I got the spare key from my neighbor, and I prepped everything because either he was going to help me or I was going to have to call an ambulance at some point because it gets that bad to where you cannot move. The first time I could not move. Like they had to come and drag me out. And so I'm prepared, and I'm like breathing. I'm like, I'm sweating profusely. Like, I mean, it's awful. And I got a hold of my neighbor, and he's like, dude, I'm too drunk to drive you.
Oh my God, that's hard.
I'm like, well, can you come get the key? And he comes up there, and he's just breathe. So he helps me. I start walking down the stairs, and I thought, because I'm really close to a hospital, actually, like within block and a half.
Oh,
so I'm
how
like,
convenient.
Yeah, totally. And I'm like, I'm not gonna call an ambulance. I'm not, and even then I'm like, I don't want to go to the doctor.
Is it Uber?
Right.
at the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah. I could totally Uber. Yeah. Although it'd freak the guy out. I'd be like, "What's?" Yeah, he's dying in my car. So I got downstairs, and as soon as we got downstairs, the wave died down, and I was like, "Oh, oh." And he's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Just taking a break for a minute." I was like, "Let me just lay down a minute." So then I go in his house. I lay down on the floor, and then it comes back again. I'm like, "God." So anyway, this went on for like 3.5 hours. And he's like, "Dude, maybe I should really take you to the, you know." And I'm like, "No," because they're just gonna give me Vicodins and charge, like they charged $13,000 last time. They took a CT scan, yeah, CT scan, couple shots of morphine, $13,000. So I'm like, you know what? For that $13,000, I'm gonna stay here and ride this out until until I pass out, or whatever. I was like, I'm gonna beat this. So like literally, he was making fun of me. He's like, "You're not making it. Nothing's legible." I'm like, "Then you talk. I can't talk." Like it was that bad. But then all of a sudden, like 4 a.m, it just went away, and I'm like, "Hey, I feel great." He's like, "You're good. Okay, I gotta be up in like 5 hours. I'm going to bed." And I'm like, "Oh, well, don't you want to talk? I thought you were so everything was fine, And then I watched in the toilet bowl, and sure enough, it came out, and like saved it. And so kidney stones are awful. But again, you don't want to go to a doctor's office because they even the food they give you in there is toxic. Everything about what doctors do is toxic.
The food thing is funny, without a doubt. It's not funny. I mean, it's funny because it's so true. Because it's like, yeah, these are supposed to be the cutting edge of like health, and like the food they give you is like, I wouldn't feed it to a dog.
Yeah.
Even though most people consider people,
Yeah.
we treat dogs better than people.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we know about even the cancer. Like I said, I've worked with some people who have cancer, diabetics that are no longer diabetic. I mean, with the right food, nutrition, and detoxing your body, you can bring all your levels back normal, and you are no longer a diabetic. The fact to think that you need to take any type of medicine for that, a chemical is not going to fix a toxicity problem. A chemical is only going to make you more toxic.
I agree.
So, when people go to doctors for things, I'm just
to a certain extent. I mean, there's like, I don't know, cancer and all that kind of stuff. Like once you get cancer, like there's so many reasons people get cancer. Like once you got it, like once it's there and it's
everybody
prevalent.
has cancer to an extent. Everybody, it is a dis-ease of the body. So DIS-EASE, dis-ease. And then they put it together and they say, "You have a disease." No, I have a dis-ease of my body. My body is not feeling right because something's wrong with it. So whether it's affecting your liver or your colon, where most meat eaters get it. And, my friend's dad, he's a major meat eater.
I'm a meat eater. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I know. Well, and again, I don't, to suggest anybody stop eating meat makes me a Looney Tune. So I wouldn't even want to begin that conversation.
Gotcha.
But if you're sick, you do whatever you can do to survive, and they're like, "Well, I'm eating chicken." I'm like, chicken is the cheapest, dirtiest meat available. Like, if you're going to eat meat, get yourself a nice filet mignon from natural grass-fed beef. Go meet that cow before you slaughter it.
That's only $28, sir.
That's right. That's right. And if it wasn't subsidized by the government, it'd be like $90, $100. But the government subsidizes all of the cattle industry. They give them millions and millions and millions and millions.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah. That's how they keep these burger prices cheap. Because if they keep the burger prices, like In-N-Out, have you ever seen an In-N-Out with a line that's not a mile long? It's obscene.
Rarely.
People are so
rare.
addicted to burgers and In-N-Out and stuff like that because
Yeah.
it keeps them sick. Not only are they making money at the In-N-Out, but it keeps them sick, and it keeps adding on to the debt of our national debt, and that keeps putting us further and further into the next stage, which will be an economic collapse. But I think that'll be another episode of What You Believe.
Yeah. I totally think that the economic collapse is going to happen without a doubt, because we're just borrowing. We're printing money to pay debt, and it's just causing exponential debt. Like, it's just going down. And Trump is doing nothing. He's like slowing it down a little bit, but I don't think he can't save it. You can plug little holes in a ship, but the son bitch is going down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like it's going down.
It was
But,
designed that way too.
yeah, I feel like, but that's what gives me a little hope in Bitcoin, because I feel like if or not, when I say Bitcoin, I just mean cryptocurrency in general, not specifically Bitcoin. But I feel like if it starts plunging, but cryptocurrencies keep their value, people will be more apt to suddenly buy those cryptocurrencies before the dollar collapses too much. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where you're going to have the switch to electronic cryptocurrencies, is when that collapse happens.
Well, I haven't done a whole lot of research into the cryptocurrencies, but your cryptocurrency right now, if you look up to see how much you have in cryptocurrencies, it tells you an amount of dollars, right?
Right.
Okay, so if the dollar plunges to jack squat and you look up to see how much you have left, you have jack squat.
Right.
Okay, so where does cryptocurrency
I mean,
protect you at all?
It's still a fiat. It's still
It's
both.
still a fiat, right?
Yeah, it's still a fiat.
So that's
But it's
and it's
but-
digital, so they can manipulate anything they want.
Well, technically they're not technically there are only a certain amount of bitcoins that will ever be produced.
Mhm.
Like, it's finite, and that's the idea, is that we can always print more money.
Mhm.
But if you can't print more bitcoins or create more bitcoins after they've all been mined, then you then have more control over governments have less control over you, because that's really where we get controlled by, is our manipulation of currency.
Absolutely. The
Yes,
bank, the
so
beginning of the bank was
I
the beginning
feel
of
like,
slavery.
yeah,
you know?
and the only thing that makes, I mean, we're just going to be trading a fiat for another fiat, but
Mhm.
that fiat will be finite. Like, right now, our fiat is not finite, and I think people will eventually just latch on to it, like the idea, because it'll make it. I feel like everybody's going to the globalization idea, and that cryptocurrency is a globalization idea, because you have a currency that is not only supported by the United States, but it's supported by the world. So if something happens in the United States, it doesn't affect the currency itself so much, because you got people in Singapore and Japan and China and Germany, Australia, they all own that piece of that value. So it's going toward globalization. I feel like that's what globalists are trying to make happen. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they're pushing for that, and most of the globalists are the people with the money.
Well, I don't believe we're on a globe, so I call them the New World Order, the international banking cartel.
Got you.
Yeah. So,
But all right, so on the plane, okay.
the plainest. No, but
you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, of course. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
You know, even them making up that word globalist, so that you keep using the word globe, and it keeps indoctrinating people into we're on a globe when you prove that there's no curvature of the Earth. But that was our last video.
Yeah, we'll throw a link up there.
A link below or above. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'll be both.
Okay. But yeah, there's the World Bank, and that's the reason why they say it's worldwide, is because there's only 3 nations right now that aren't part of the World Bank: North Korea, Iran, and Syria.
Right.
Until we finish blowing the crap out of Syria.
We're on the way.
And I believe North Korea I think I just read something that they're going to accept the
They're down.
The IMF is on the way in there. And
then,
of course,
they're like, we want capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, you just want to be part of the system.
They're giving in, and they're giving in. And then again, if you read books where they tell you, what's happening, you read 1871 Morals and Dogma, written by General Albert Pike.
I have listened to that audiobook, my good sir. I've listened to that.
Mm-hmm. Where they tell you about all 3 world wars in 1871, way before all 3 world wars. And the final cataclysm is going to be Judaism versus Christianity versus Islam.
Yeah.
It's all religious based.
Yes. And people, like, the more I learn about the religion, the more I realize it totally is.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta get to a secure place before I start getting crazy. Before things start getting really crazy.
Right. Right. And and that's another thing when we talk about like cryptocurrencies and what's real money. Food is real money. If you have the ability to grow stuff, But most kids don't even know what the hell food is. They don't know the difference between a cucumber and squash. You
Right.
know, it's like, which is absurd, you know, but they're not teaching them things that they need to know. They're teaching them how to push buttons and be dependent upon what the government's going to give you. They're not learning about genetically modified organisms. They're being told that these things are good for you when we know that they sterilize you. And if stupid bugs won't eat the food, you shouldn't eat the food either. Like,
Right.
you know, I only eat stuff that looks a little chewed up by the
Yeah,
bugs. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"If
That
the
means
bugs
it's
are gonna-"
healthy. Yeah.
But if they won't touch it, then you shouldn't touch it. But those are real things. The gold, silver, diamonds. You know, these are tangible items that when the economic crash comes, and it will. And again, you got to remember they did tests for EMPs. So when that EMP, by the way, P&G, which is the power company, they shut down the electrical grid when they sense a fire coming. Okay, out here in California. So they sense a fire, a wildfire. PG&E are telling you that, well, we're going to shut the grid down.
So it doesn't cause more travesty.
That's what they tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they tell you, which is a bunch of crap, first of all. Because, first of all, it tells you they have the power to just shut things off. Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
they can just, you know, this power outage in Florida with the hurricane last year, power was out for a long time, and there was no damage. I have a lot of friends in Florida, and there was no damage. There was no reason for the power to be off, but they shut it down. It's a shock test to see what do people do.
Enron, dude. You look into Enron, that's exactly what they did. They would cut down and shut down sectors to make scarcity and drive up the price. These dudes were freaking robbing people blind, man. Like everyday people right here. Just robbing them blind. Taking just charged them extra more little pennies and pennies and pennies more for kilowatts. It turned into dollars. And you got thousands and thousands and thousands of people living in one area, like just throwing a little bit, just eat a little bit. Everybody's getting robbed just a little bit, you know? And then just funnel it up like a pyramid.
And then when you have these mysterious power outages or quote unquote an EMP attack from the Russians, it's not going to be the Russians. They're all in it together anyway. We'll get to that. But when you have this EMP attack, no banks are going to work. So your cryptocurrency is worth shit because you can't get to it anyway. So what are you going to do to buy a loaf of bread if you need a loaf of bread? What do you have to trade?
Gotcha.
Is somebody can you trade a microphone for it? No, there's no electricity to run a microphone. You're going to be able to trade your microwave for it? No, there's no electricity to run a microwave.
Buy gold and bury it in the dirt.
Gold, there you go. You can bury it in the dirt if you want. Gold, silver, diamonds.
Well, I'm hedging my bets.
Toothpaste, water, food. Those are the type of things that you can, if you don't use it in 30 years, fine, you don't use it. But at least you have something, to, people think that their houses, you never really get the title to your house. You're always renting your house. They don't give you the actual deed to your house. You get a certificate of ownership, but that doesn't mean that you actually own the land. So at any time,
because you always have to pay taxes.
Because you always have to pay taxes. That's right.
You never. Yeah, that's something my granddad used to tell me. He's like, you never own anything.
Nope.
Ever.
No. Same with your car. You get a certificate of the title, but the manufacturer owns the actual ownership title. So you don't actually own your car.
It's still better than leasing, though.
Oh, it's definitely better than leasing. Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. And and again, as long as this system works the way it does, but people, they have just enough to keep them from revolting, which is what they do. That's why they do these shock tests to see
most people
how much,
want that, though. I feel like a lot of people that's just what they want
because they've been dumbed down and they're so blind and their pineal glands are all junked up, so they have no conscious contact with the creator. A lot of people, atheism is obviously on the rise.
It is.
It is. So more people, everybody wears shoes. There's actually science behind grounding, being on the ground. They did tests that showed people actually healed by being in touch with the earth. I mean, these are scientific. You can look this up.
I think that's
we'll
why
add a link below.
Yeah, we'll add a link below. I think that's why people go to the beach. Is because they get into the sand and like they get connected to, and the beach is like got all the energy. Like,
I slept like 4.5 hours last night because I was getting his surfboard. He surfs, and then I had to leave early to go surfing this morning with him. And I never feel tired when I go surf early in the morning. And I always feel energized for the rest of the day, and then I'm sleep like a baby at night. And it's not that way if I don't get onto the ground. So every day I try to get on the ground. I do my stretches, my foam rolling, all that stuff. I get on the ground. I get out. I get vitamin D. The sun. They've lied to us and told us that the sun gives you cancer. Get grounded. But seriously, look into grounding. And just you lay on the ground for. One guy actually put a stake in the ground with a wire running up to his second story window, and had a sheet that was made of metal, and that he put underneath of his sheet, his regular sheet. I guess he had a pad or something. And he noticed that he documented all this too, and he noticed that he had more energy and felt better rested than he had in a long time.
Well, there should be a replication of that experiment. Make sure it's not placebo, but sounds cool.
And there's multiple ones. So there's multiple. If you go in there, there's a lot of different, like they've had big control studies with like 75 people who, with placebo, and, they have done legitimate scientific studies to see, does this group of people heal more when they're grounded, or is it hocus pocus? Because a lot of people say it's hocus pocus. But I can tell you for now, when you get into the sand and the water, you feel alive, even though I'm afraid of the water since they pollute it so much. But you know what? Right. I feel totally alive when I get in there, which again leads us in a little bit more closer to actually talking about weather control, which is.
I know. I was about to segue right into it. I'm like, this is a good point. Yeah, exactly. It is.
Our body's totally electrical. Your heart runs on a frequency that's different from the frequency your liver runs on. They all run on different frequencies.
I mean, your thoughts. Your pure thoughts.
Yes.
It's all electrical.
Yes, that's right. And you can feel the energy from other people. Like when somebody...
Especially if you're on mushrooms.
Oh, right.
Dude, you're like, oh, man. Yeah, I've been like
you're
that.
You're melting, bro.
Yeah, I've been like, man, I can't be around you right now.
Right.
Why? I just like, you just putting out this bad vibe or something. Not you right now.
Right.
I've been there before, without a doubt.
Well, and even dogs, they just had a test that came out where they actually proved that dogs can sense people who are negative, people who have bad energy. So we're always giving off energy. And that was another thing I grew up.
Your aura is purple.
I always thought it was the Tai Chi. I'm like, that's just hocus pocus. Now, I don't know about this whole knocking people over or knocking them out with,
that's set up.
You're right. I believe that.
I did Tai Chi when I was a little kid. Oh, my mom bought like these videos. Like she tried it for like a week and then didn't do it. But I did it for like 6 months or 7 months afterwards. And dude, that stuff is like, it helps you focus.
Yes.
That's like, focus is the most important part to me personally in life. It's like being able to focus on something and to finish tasks. Like I need to eat, fix sandwich, I need to drink. I need to make podcast,
Yeah.
And you have to focus on all the little tasks to make that happen. And I feel like Tai Chi just helps you censor it in.
Absolutely.
Because it's slow, and you just it's keeping your concentration longer. That's what it is. It's practicing or working and keeping your concentration. Because with all these commercials and all this kind of stuff, it's like bam, 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 all those edits. And especially all these new movies, like these Marvel movies, it's like you barely understand what's going on because there's so many cuts. It's like, what the hell is going on in this scene? Where did this guy come from? Like, oh my gosh,
Right.
Like it's like.
Right. Well, those light frequencies, again, interact with your neurostimuli, which is, again, your brain shooting out different signals.
Yeah.
And just looking at the sun, this is another reason why they push sunglasses on everybody. And everybody wears sunglasses, because your eyes, the spectrum of light from the sun, each different light spectrum activates a different biochemical release in your body. So,
Hold on. Are you telling me to stare at the sun right now?
well, I'm not saying to stare at the sun. Although I will say, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day who knew about grounding, and he knew about the sun, and and he said you should stare at the sun on sunrise and stare at the sun on sunset.
Sunsets. I do that. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess you could do that. 'Cause
You can.
It doesn't hurt, you know. I don't think you should stare when it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
I think your body's telling you not
High
a good
noon.
time. But again, that spectrum, because he used to wear sunglasses, I wore sunglasses, and I used to be like, oh, it's so blinding, you know. But now that I've been doing it for so long, I'm like, oh, it's not blinding at all, you know.
Yeah.
And
Moses, his eyes never dimmed.
his eyes never dimmed.
He lived for like hundreds of years.
Oh, okay, right.
And his eyes like never dimmed for when he died or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
I'm just a little Bible. I know you guys might not believe in the Bible, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, they said people lived to 800 years old too, you know.
Yeah.
And if
I believe that too. I believe because I feel like it's well, it might have also been like their timekeeping somewhat, but I also feel like people they lived healthier, you know,
Yes,
but they also had
yes.
diseases. I don't know, man.
Well,
I wasn't there.
Disease manifests when you have people too close together
Cities.
in an area.
Yeah.
Cities.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's a dis-ease. So what's causing this dis-ease of the body? When your body breaks down faster than it rebuilds. So your body's constantly in a state of like cancer breaking you down, and then you're rebuilding. As long as you keep rebuilding faster than you're breaking down, you're fine. You can have cancer for your whole life. No problem.
Fountain
But
of
when
youth.
you are not building up your body, what did you say?
Fountain of youth. If you
Fountain.
can find a way to like keep that process going forever, you'll live forever.
That's exactly right.
I think that's what they're probably trying to do.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, and also now downloading your electrical brain into a like a hard drive.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking. I had a podcast
AI.
about that. I'll put it up here. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was thinking about that, and I was like, the idea of your electrical thoughts being able to be on a mechanical, but like how the transfer, like I don't know how the hell they could make that transfer. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Well, I feel you have a soul, so
yeah. And
how do you transfer the soul?
yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. Like your pure soul, like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how do you move that? You know, you can't move your soul into another body, a physical body. And
Right.
that I would think that would be more easier to put it into a machine. You know, because it's all organic just as you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has everything that you are. You know, so why not be easier to transfer a spirit into a body better than a machine? But if you could do that, that's why I think they can't do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, you get
Even though they're trying to do it.
Yeah, well, the lady from Google was talking about how so we have this new technology where we can read your thoughts, but don't worry, we're only going to read the thoughts that you've already agreed to share with everyone else.
It's like before we're only going to read your.
We'll put a link. We'll put a link above so you can believe this. She's. I mean, this is legitimate. This is out
like
of the
a TED
horse's
Talk.
mouth. I can't remember if it's a TED Talk.
It's
or-
like before you post on Facebook, we'll already know it. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because what they want to do is, again, it goes back to the whole pre-crime thing. They say they're going to be able to read people's thoughts.
Nice.
And then,
Minority Report.
Minority
Yes.
Report. Tom Cruise. Yes.
Dude, I
Go
love
to the
that
theaters
movie.
now. I know. It's a great movie.
So
and
good.
there's a lot of truth in it. you
Yeah.
know? And
Even those bots that go in and scan the room.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Those
Oh my God. And the way like he's walking through a hallway and there's all these scanners scanning his eyes and it's personalized advertising. I'm like,
Right.
that shit is going to happen.
It's already here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's-
Like they just haven't gotten to a place where they got the microchips to cost cheap enough to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that will eventually happen.
If you go back and start looking at old movies like Demolition Man and
Yeah.
some of these old futuristic ones, there's so much that they told you 20, 25 years ago that is more than happening now. And I always tell everybody we're 50 to 100 years behind the technology that they already have.
Yeah.
And they only release it to us when when they have shit that's way more advanced, you know.
Yeah.
When it's old, it's the old shoes. They're like, here you go, you can have that. Go play with that, you know, because they got stuff that's far more technologically advanced.
Demolition Man. We should invest in Taco Bell.
Right, that's right. Taco Bell, that's right. And they talk about, after the wars when everybody was fighting against each other, and and again, this is what they talk about in Morals and Dogma and all. They're going to pit the people against each other. They want another civil war.
It's population control.
Population control, which is why they're having all this division. They're making it a race war. They're making it a religion war. They're making it a political war. They're saying, ooh, Trump this, ooh, that. Trump is
like literally inciting people to go and hurt other people just because of their beliefs. Like literally doing that.
Yes.
And
then they have patented technology, millimeter waves, these 5G technology, HAARP, where they can send frequencies, and those frequencies can cause you to be angry. They can cause you to be sad, hypersexual. There's all the different feelings you have.
Yeah.
They're all triggered by electromagnetic frequencies that your brain either creates or outside influence. So when you have all these electromagnetic...
I feel chemistry too. Like if you...
if
you smell a chick and like... God damn, it's like, oh.
Well, definitely, but but then that releases an electro...
Yeah, of course, yeah. That's when she's like, oh my God, there goes this energy.
That's right. Take it easy.
Calm down.
Well, don't wear that. Jeez.
I feel a little poke coming through.
I don't know that one.
You don't know? Okay.
No, gonna have to. We'll put a link about it. But yeah, so the electromagnetic, the 5G that's coming out, all this stuff, and finally, obviously HAARP. So HAARP, High Altitude Aurora Research Project. It is real. You can go look at it. They're even doing away with the original HAARP that's in.
It's outdated.
It's outdated. They're building a new one that is 100 times more powerful in Denmark. That's it. No, the Netherlands. The Netherlands? Is that the same thing? Netherlands.
It's still running.
Anyway.
It's really hot.
No, Denmark. Oh, I don't know. Somewhere over there. I was just listening to. They're building a new one. It's going to be 100 times
bigger,
more powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That means they did the research. They liked what they wanted, and they liked what they saw in their production of what they made. So they're like, oh, let's just make a bigger one.
That's right.
And dude, all right. So do you think is? All right. So we talked about earlier. We're going to give little theories, but I think it has to do, like, I don't understand you with the mind control and all that kind of stuff. I feel like they might be working on force fields too, like futuristic force fields. Like this is the weather stuff is just a side effect of what they're working on. And not, you know what I mean? I think the weather stuff is a side effect of what the primary thing they're working on. I feel like, because like spaceships, because that's what they're trying to do, is like we're supposed to go to Mars. Well, we don't know what we're going to find other space.
You just realized.
Yeah.
I think outer space is bullshit.
Yeah,
we don't
think,
have anything that proves that we. And even if you listen to NASA, they tell you, well, we're trying to figure out how to get out of low orbit. They'll tell you themselves they've never been to outer space.
I got you.
So.
Well,
we'll leave a link to the other one.
Yeah, but let's say if there was a Mars in space and all that kind of stuff, and you think of spaceships in movies and stuff, they have this force field around them, that can physically move things out of the way, like debris that would penetrate the hole and cause a rupture. If that was to happen, like cell phones happen, we used to see Captain Kirk flip open this thing and talk on it,
Captain's log.
Now we have that.
Yeah.
I
believe they have the technology.
So I feel like they're creating a way to physically move things with radio frequencies.
Sure, absolutely. Like you even
and
look
the weather stuff is just a side effect.
Look at harmonic resonance levitation.
Oh yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
So
you have to chill it down though. I've seen that, but they use antifreeze, not antifreeze, but
Dry ice.
dry ice. or
Liquid
something.
nitrogen,
Yeah,
maybe.
liquid nitrogen. There you go.
Okay.
And because it has to be a certain temperature for that to happen.
But there's other tools that they have that don't even use that. There's just like there's this tool they have. It has 2 forks like this, and it sends a sound wave.
It has
in
the
between.
beads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they can pick up a bead with it.
Yeah. I've seen that
So
too.
that and again that technology.
We'll put that down.
Yeah, we'll put the link below or down. That technology has like they've had this for they're just now giving us look, we can pick a bead up.
Yeah.
When the truth is like that's how they made the pyramids. The ancient technology was there a long time ago.
I feel you on that.
And there's another guy, his name is Mike, I can't even remember. He's looking into ancient technology. He actually has a round stone like this, and he took it on a plane, and all of a sudden the TSA and the authorities came on the plane and brought him off of the plane because he had this stone that was putting all the TSA security systems on the fritz.
No way.
Yeah.
It was like put on
It's
an
an
electric
ancient
magnetic
yes, and
field.
because certain stones have magnetic properties to them, electromagnetic properties, and then harnessed with a cone or a pyramid, if you will. That's why you look at all the magicians. They all have cones on their head. The energy is focused through a cone.
And the KKK.
And the KKK, that's right. So, yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of ancient technology out there. They've had this technology. It's all been suppressed, and they don't want us to know about. So now they're giving us a little pick a bead up with vibrations.
Yeah.
When Nikola Tesla was doing this stuff a long time ago, it was documented that when he was doing his sound wave resonance test, they actually had to shut his lab down because he was causing earthquakes. And this was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
So in the 50s, he had a small machine in a laboratory in New York that was causing an earthquake in New York. So, weather control. Why? What? I don't deny force fields, sure, but that's definitely not the primary target. The primary target is to weaponize weather.
Yeah,
it is weaponized
I
because who do you fire your gun at when you're attacked by a hurricane? Who are you going to shoot, right?
Right.
You're going to swing at the air, and no, you can't fight a hurricane.
Especially
but a hurricane
flooding.
can wipe out a whole city.
Yes, like it could wipe out
country.
Louisiana or Houston or or Florida or any of these.
Hurricane Harvey is a great example. Okay, you have this hurricane that just appeared out of nowhere, was brought right in over Houston, and then stopped. Hurricanes don't stop like that necessarily.
Stall.
Especially,
I've seen a bunch.
and it picked up. It kept going stronger and stronger and stronger. It had more and more precipitation.
Yeah, usually when it hits landfall, it
slows down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it didn't. So, and it just stayed right there. And there's people that have and again, I don't believe in satellites. I believe they're weather balloon monitors. So they have weather monitors, which are weather balloons are 100,000 feet or hundreds of thousands of feet up, even miles up, and so they get the picture of electromagnetic frequencies that are going on, and you can see the HAARP stations are all activated. So once you have a hurricane that comes in here, they can use those electromagnetic frequencies to hold the hurricane right there. And the main thing that you can go and research so that you're not like, he's pulling this out of his ass. Go look up Project Cirrus. In 1947, Project Cirrus was the first man-made hurricane where they seeded clouds and they created a hurricane that slammed into Savannah, Georgia, killed 3.
I saw the cloud seeding video.
Okay.
I think did you send me one?
I've sent you a few.
Yeah. Well,
prepare.
And it's totally it happens. And this guy in Texas, he was it was like a news report.
BBC.
It was like, oh no, I'm thinking about this other one. You're talking about the test engine that was blowing out a whole bunch of a whole cloud and then it rained.
Yeah.
I'm talking about there's a guy in Texas who he says he finds already storms, and then he flies a plane into it, and when he sprays stuff into it, it makes the storm even bigger.
Okay.
So which is totally what they can do with a hurricane. They can spray the stuff into a hurricane and make the hurricane even bigger.
Yeah. And they put nanoparticulates. They dump all the geoengineering that you see.
That's not going in your food at all. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's just raining barium, strontium, aluminum. Don't worry about it being in your soil or in the water.
It just, it just dissipates into nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, it's totally good because, you can destroy energy.
Yeah,
right?
There's a guy who did water testing out here after it rains in California. And he does water testing, and every time he tests the water, is large amounts of barium, strontium, and aluminum. And they find lithium too. Even NASA admits that they spray lithium into the atmosphere. And their geoengineering reason for this is if we pollute the atmosphere with all this metal, these are metal flakes. Okay, this is like actual physical metal. You could take a magnet and attract it to a magnet. Metal. They're spraying it in the air. You're inhaling metal. Your children are inhaling metal. Your animals are inhaling metal.
It's collected in your body.
It's collected in your body. It's cumulative, and it will kill you unless you know how to detox your body on a regular basis, which most people don't. They're eating in and out. So you got all this aluminum and barium and strontium that they're spraying in there. And then what happens when you microwave metal?
Electricity sparks.
Shit heats up, right?
Yeah.
It gets really hot. So they say, oh, it's global warming. Well, listen to me. If you have trillion-watt lasers and you have hundreds of millions of tons of nanoparticulates in the sky, they're spraying LA every day, and then you fire those
lasers
at the metal, it's going to heat up. It's going to be hot.
And also the sun reflecting off that metal in the atmosphere as well. Mm-hmm. It has to have some form of effect on it without a doubt as well.
Exactly.
We'll also put a link to the cloud machine that you sent me, like up here, down there, both.
So what we're talking about is NASA. NASA has huge factories, and it's not just NASA. Like there's other ones you can find around the country too. If you look in rain making machine, cloud making machines, they're all over. Your factories that look like these big nuclear, smokestacks with tons of
steam.
Supposed
to be steam.
These are all cloud making. So they can, if they have a bunch on the East Coast, they make them all pump clouds out, and then all of a sudden they rain out the East Coast. Or they, don't let it rain out here. They can also prevent it from raining. So in California, we certainly can't have a whole lot of rain if they're going to be burning up the rural areas. So they withhold, the cloud seeding technology. They could make it rain out here, and then there would be no more fires. But they don't want to do that because they want to burn up the
I haven't seen
areas.
Too many. I don't know. I haven't been looking up. I'll look up a little bit. I should look up more, I guess.
Oh, yeah. If you look up every single day. Every day. And if you're not familiar with the geoengineering and the spraying of all the chemicals and nanoparticulates, just go online and look up atmosphere. It's called stratospheric atmosphere injections, SAI.
Yeah. It happens.
You will see, it will blow your mind how much spraying is going on. And a lot of times they do this spraying at nighttime too. So you'll get up in the morning and you'll see all these real funky, long, just not clouds. They're not clouds. They're just, aerosol that's starting to disperse. Although in the schools now, they're teaching children new names for clouds. So they're starting, instead of just, that's a cloud, now, well, that's a such and such cloud.
It's a cumulus. Well, isn't there the different kind of clouds though?
Yeah, they have different kind of clouds that they're teaching the children now to explain why they look so unusual in the sky.
I know. There's stratus or there's cumulus. Like the cumulus ones are the big rain clouds. Like when you have a big storm. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Well, they're adding new ones, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
After hundreds of years of, maybe 2 or 3 different types of clouds, I guess.
It's the Eskimo way, Eskimos have a whole bunch of different ways to name snow.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah. Like a whole bunch of different. But there's like icy snow. There's like flaky snow. There's like fluffy snow.
Okay.
Eskimo snow.
Well,
but yeah, sorry about that segue.
No, that's all right.
But anyways, so I feel like we have to kind of be doing this research too, though, because if Russia and China are also doing it, because some of the videos that you saw, that you showed me indicated that, and I was like, well, well then it'll be warfare on each other, and we have to, keep up with the Joneses. First it was nukes, and now we got the most nukes. So now it's like, okay, we gotta make sure we have the best rain making machine or hurricane making machine.
Well, they actually have a treaty that says you're not going to use weather warfare on each other.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it called the water? I mean, the
I'm not
weather
sure what the name
warfare
of the treaty is.
Treaty. I have to look it up.
We'll look it up and put a link for sure. There is a treaty, and I mean, it was back in like the 40s or 50s, where they said we're not going to use weather warfare against each other.
Check that out.
Yeah, totally. So and then again, I sent you the link with JFK talking about controlling the weather, and you listen to different movies, and they're always talking. Okay, the biggest one is Geostorm.
JFK dropped a lot of truth bombs,
yeah,
like subliminal, like, "Hey man, some shit's going on, bro."
And even that last speech he gave,
the very last one, yeah.
that was the biggest truth bomb ever.
Yep.
Talking, there's a monolithic conspiracy. He talked about it. He didn't say theory. He said there is a conspiracy, with lots of different pieces coming together in a conspiracy. And it's
people are like, "Oh, that's great. What's on the Johnny Carson show tonight?"
Right, exactly. They're like, "Oh, that's, you know what? That's just negative. I don't want to think negative."
Yeah.
So they say that until your kids got autism because you got vaccinations that were harmful, or you're sitting underneath a new Wi-Fi tower, a 5G tower. They just roll up during the day and put a new one in and leave, and then there's nothing you can do about it. I actually had a friend of mine who stopped it by red flagging the construction that they were trying to put a 5G repeater up there. But those 5G repeaters, they already know 4G causes tumors in rats, and then the LA Times came out with a new article that said 5G causes a minor increase in tumors. As though a minor increase in tumors is...
I'm trying to get away from this sucker.
Yeah. Put it on airplane mode. So when you have your phone, and children under 2 shouldn't be in front of anything. They shouldn't be on the laptop.
I agree.
They shouldn't be on the phone. They shouldn't be anywhere near Wi-Fi. You can get...
But that's the babysitter. That's the modern day babysitter. It's like, here's your iPad. Here's
that's
your
right.
Blah.
Shut up. Stop bothering me.
Yeah. They behave so well when they got that thing. I'm like, yeah. So you're just teaching them that if they want to behave right, they should be in front of a computer. Like.
So then they're on Facebook feeling like. So what do you do
when they're not in front of a computer? They don't know how to behave.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love my parents, man. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're good about that. Like making sure the grandkids are behaving. They're good. They're good grandparents.
Well, you got to give them some more grandkids. Come on.
I'm working on it, man. I'm headed back. I got to find
a good old country gal.
Yeah. I got to find me a country gal. Because, I hate to meet a girl here and be like, hey, so you want to go move in the middle of nowhere? I mean, yeah. I'm actually going to Wilmington, which isn't so bad. But eventually, I want to go to the middle of nowhere. It's like, that's the objective. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to land with a house and guns.
That's right, and food.
Yeah, and with my own garden, my own well,
Mm-hmm.
My own wind turbine, my own solar panel, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And more guns, probably more guns, probably more guns.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe invite some friends. Yeah. I don't know.
It's good to have a community. But these are the things they're not, and I have friends that are like, we're overpopulated. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, they have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of acres of land off limits to human beings. And there's, in the United Nations Agenda 21 plan, there's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and more that they want to shut off to human inhabitants. So if they weren't locking up all this beautiful land away from people, people could be spreading out and living
Africa's
everywhere.
Huge.
Yeah, there's so much land out there. To even suggest that we're overpopulated means you're an uneducated fool.
Yeah, it's just easier to control less people.
Yeah. Well, and that's why they're burning the rural areas, getting people out of their houses, and then crowding them in, because everybody in the city is like, it's getting too crowded. Yeah, you're right. It is getting too crowded in the cities. Because that's what they're doing. Because once they burn them out of their houses, there's so many new regulations for building that people can't build anymore.
Yeah.
They were all grandfathered in, parlayed in under the old laws, and now there's new sustainable United Nations. Anything that's sustainable means it's communistic. They're taking away your rights. That's what sustainability means. It's not make the planet better, because if they really want to make the planet better, they would hold China to a couple regulations. You know what I mean? They wouldn't let people dump plastic in the ocean, but that's not the case. Sustainability is for you and I to be controlled. Cars are not sustainable. They want to get you out of your car. Houses are not sustainable, which means you don't own private property, and you will not own private property. And someday they're gonna drag everyone out of their houses, except for the few people who are on board with whatever they want. You know, just like Hitler. You know, a few people got to keep their houses and live the high life, while the majority of people who said this is wrong got a bullet to the head. So there's plenty of land out there for everybody. There's, you know, this is a beautiful world. This is the Garden of Eden. And, but there, you know, again, the whole point is to get us away from nature, which is God, and get us away from God and nature. The farther away from you are from God and nature, the sicker you are mentally, you know?
Yeah.
And
You're away from freedom.
you're away from freedom.
Because you're letting this entity like make choices for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like God doesn't make choices for you.
Right. Right. He wants you to make the right choices.
Yes, it's up to you to be responsible for your choices, and that's totally why people are, they do not want to take personal responsibility for the actions that they make in life. Like that's where it all boils down to.
Right.
Is like, and that's why you get all these like corporations and all this kind of stuff. Is like it's the liability is spread, and that's what insurance is about. It's like it's just spreading in liability, but it's really like screwing everything up.
Yeah.
It really, like the older I get, because I used to sell insurance, like home and auto insurance, and like I understand we need it and all this kind of stuff in case something happens, but it's the way the system works. I just don't quite agree with it. I couldn't like literally wake up every morning and be a part of that system.
They should all be private, small private insurances, small private hospitals. That way there's competition. If this hospital, everybody's dying, and this hospital, people are living, where do you think they're all going to go over here? And then what's going to happen to the people living's insurance? It's going to drop.
Right.
So the quality of life will get better. But when you have this monolithic bullshit system like the allopathy and the pharmaceutical companies are in control of, who also give all the money and fund the universities that tell the doctors what it is they're going to learn and how they're going to prescribe treatments. That's why I call them the white coat Nazis. They're just indoctrinated like everybody else to, you know, to do things the way that they're told. And the problem is that there's no competition anymore. Everybody is in the system, and if you go to that hospital, you're going to get murdered, and if you go to that hospital, you're going to get murdered, and then everybody's insurance is up. So that's what happens with these
you have to pay it.
You have to go.
Oh God.
Yeah. And they make it too expensive
dude.
for anybody to get out.
It's ridiculous, man.
But as far as the weather control, this is weaponized weather to you cannot fight that foe. You know what I mean? You talked about getting guns. You don't have anybody to fight when they cause. You know, there were two massive.
Buy a boat.
Well, then there's going to be a hurricane in the sea. You know? There's tons of the Illuminati card talks about Statue of Liberty being under the water, and if you listen right now, they have the Arctic is being melted with 30-degree hotter weather than ever before. 30 degrees. Now, how do you create 30-degree warmer weather? Well,
or
take
it's
a
the
trillion-watt
cars.
laser. Right, it's the
It's
cars.
the cars.
It's you farting too much.
Yeah, it's the cows and the cars.
It's the cows and the cars, that's right. Or it's a trillion-watt laser. You know, Russia has their version of the trillion-watt laser, too. It's not HAARP. It's called the woodpecker. So, and there's multiple ones all over the world. They even have giant buoys in the middle of the ocean so that these electronic signals hit the ionosphere. They come back down, they hit the buoy, they go back up. And these things just travel across, you know, the earth all the time. And they can cause earthquakes, they can cause hurricanes, they can cause all kinds of atmospheric weather control modifications. And when they want a crisis, that's all they have to do is generate boop, that's it. Press a button and boom, and then they say, oh, it's an act of God. Well, it's not an act of God. They say it's man-made global warming. So this is how they blame
I mean, technically, they're not lying, though.
Right. Exactly. That is the irony of the whole thing.
But I totally feel like people, the way that you speak creates reality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're creating like back talk or like double talk.
Double speak, yeah.
Double speak, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. And that's what they're doing.
They're saying one thing, but they're meaning another.
Yeah, but it is the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. They give you they give you 80% of the information and 20% is bullshit, and that's why they keep people hooked in. Just like people, Alex Jones. He's such controlled opposition. I cannot stand to hear his voice. But the fact of the matter is he gives you a ton of truth, and then he injects 20% of lunacy in there, which turns everybody off.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, that's true. Oh, this guy's crazy. I'm never gonna research that.
They're turning the frogs gay.
Right.
I mean, they might be. I don't know.
That's.
I just remember him saying that, and I was like, ah.
I have a friend of mine. He has another YouTube channel, and he's very much into. He's a black conservative, so he's got.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. He's got like I think 100,000, close to 100,000 subs, and
oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's doing really good, and he's been doing better. And I've been trying to wake him up a little bit. He knows a little bit, but he still believes that the political system is genuinely just it's working the way it's not controlled by the same master. He doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
So he thinks that these Democrat, and I'm like, it's all controlled, man. It's all controlled by the same people. This is just a big, it's a big fake hoax. If you go look up Cynthia McKinney, ex-Senator Cynthia McKinney, she'll tell you it's all a joke. She's like, I remember, she remembers there being an argument, between the chairman and one of the senators, and they're arguing this thing, and then after the camera shut off, they both went and pat each other on the back. They're like, hey, good one, yeah, good one. And she's like, I remember being like, what? Like, well, how is this possible? Because it's a drama. They cause a drama in front of the cameras to make people divided and make people think, oh, well, they're arguing my point, and they're arguing my point. But then when the cameras go off, they're all buddies. They're all in it together. It's all bullshit. And that's what I'm telling them. I'm like, dude, you have 100,000 people that you can reach and tell them the truth. So Alex Jones called him up, had him on a Skype.
No way.
Yeah, had him on a Skype, and I'm like, that's great, man. I'm like, again, keep researching some of the stuff
Yeah.
like he'll just put his toe in the water and be like, nah, I'm going back over here to talk about Trump and how good Trump's going to be and how the libtards are just so stupid. And I'm like, but by attacking the people, you're still not giving them any quality information. We know that it's stupid, but to believe that Trump is a born-again Christian and that he's going to change things is also stupid.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there exactly, without a doubt. I know what you're saying, and I feel like I did an interview with you know who Sabo is?
Sabo?
Yeah.
No.
He's like a conservative political artist, street artist. But I did an interview with him, and I was talking about I was saying these senators and all these congressmen, they're supposed to be these Ivy League. They are supposed to be the most intelligent people that is representing Americans, like that we put there. Like, hey, this person is not only my values, but they've also went to like all these schools and all this, freaking they smart. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they still can't get this shit right.
No.
And it's like,
but it's by design.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like if they were as smart as they're supposedly, and these colleges are paying for them to be, like
they would be.
They'd be able to fix this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just the way life is. Like really, like that's the way life works.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and if you look at like the past and how everything's been built up to this point, again, they say those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Just go back and talk to people who went through the whole Hitler rise, Go back and research the fact that trading against the enemy, Grandpa Bush, Prescott Bush, was arrested and had his bank taken away from him because his bank was funding Hitler. Okay, and then they find him and they turn him loose again, and then his son is president of the United States. Like, how anybody doesn't care about researching that type of information and still believing that our political system is a up and up functioning organization.
Nazis are horrible people. Oh yeah, well they sent our astronauts to the moon technically.
Right.
You know what I mean. But that's the narrative though.
Ron, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like they also if you drive a Volkswagen, you're also a Nazi lover. If you wear a Boss, you're also a Nazi lover. You know, it's like
right.
It's like there's all these. As long as you don't know that stuff and you can like be mad at all the other stuff.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
It's okay to be ignorant.
The brainwashing is, I mean, again, this is a century-old religious. That's why they call the priests were the scientists, and they called the priests. You know,
Yeah.
There was always a priest behind every king. Every king did what the priest said because the priests were really the ones in charge.
Right.
And they were the scientists, so that they knew when the eclipse was going to come.
Because they had records.
They had records. They were astrophysicists. You know, they watched the way that the stars moved, and not the stars in the sense of outer space, but within our firmament. You know, the little dots up there. Which again, if you take a high-powered telescope and you zoom in on one of them fuckers, it's still a blurry little dot. There are no there's no actual pictures of a star or actual pictures of.
Well, a buddy of mine sent a picture of Saturn to me the other day.
Yeah.
That through his telescope.
Right.
I don't know how
I've seen that one.
Yeah, but like, well, I'm saying he has a telescope and he took a picture.
Yeah.
Like with it through his camera. Like, and I don't think that he's the kind of guy that's faking it.
No,
So,
but you can have a little dot there with what looks like a little ring there.
In the firmament.
In the firmament, yeah.
Firmament.
Just like the moon in the.
So you think it's all fixed?
Yeah. Well, no, we're a fixed plane, and it's all moving above us.
Gotcha.
And the sun and the moon are the same size, and they're both moving too. That's why when there's an eclipse, they always.
So is it a half globe that is moving around us?
I don't know if I'd say globe. I guess you could call it a globe. It's definitely a circular.
A half. Well, it would be half of one, right? If it's a firmament. Well, I'm just picturing it.
Well, if it's within the firmament, I suppose it could be a full ball.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, the world is, the earth is electromagnetic. So whatever that is could be electromagnetic. And again, it goes like this. If you look at high altitude weather balloons, like Yale had a high altitude weather balloon that blew the whole globular earth off the map, because you can see way the hell up here, you see the sun come from a distance. It's coming at you. You know, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's coming right at you. It's not coming up over you.
You have to send me that video.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's coming right at you. You can see everything is flat. And it's like, oh, interesting. Plus, you can see the sun rays, the sun shining through, and the sun rays go like this. And they say, oh, well, that's the clouds causing the sun rays.
It's splitting the rays, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you have other high-altitude pictures of sunspots, like hot spots on the Earth surface itself. And if the sun was 93 million miles away, you would never have one spot that was really, really warm, and then the rest, you know.
Right.
It would all be uniform.
Exactly. There'd be a source that is closer to have a sunspot.
Right. So.
And if you look on because if you look on like out on the beach, or like when the sun's setting, like there's always a line where the sun is, right? So that's the sunspot. The sun is like reflecting off
exactly.
The beach or the water of the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying if it was further away, you wouldn't have that line?
Are you talking about? I'm talking about the rays that come down, because the sun's here. The rays come down like this.
Yeah.
But if the sun was way up there, then the rays wouldn't come out like this. The rays would be coming straight. Yet, gotcha. If you look through the clouds, sometimes with the sun through the clouds, the rays are coming down at an angle. Which, again, if you use geometry and trigonometry, you should be able to factor in, you know, the distance of the sun that way.
Gotcha.
But I don't do math like that, so that's difficult. But also, you can take your phone and you zoom in on the moon or you zoom in on the sun, and the thing zooms in. Like, if it was 93 million miles away, you would do that and it wouldn't zoom at all. Like it's 93 million miles away. Like you're not going to be able to zoom that thing in.
I gotcha. I understand your
It gets big on your phone. Like it fills in the screen.
I gotcha. I don't know. I don't know enough about even though I own a camera, I don't know enough about optical stuff.
Well, and that's another thing. Like, I mean,
well, I've also seen videos where people, if they go certain ways, and if there's a curvature of the Earth, you shouldn't be able to see them. But
exactly.
when they zoom in, you can still see them.
Exactly, like a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that, but I've also seen other videos showing the opposite. But those videos seem more sketchier than the ones.
Yeah.
It's like they are way more produced.
Right.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot more money involved.
Yeah. Discovery did one like that.
Yeah. I think they had people on a helicopter or something like that, and they were shooting across a lake. They're shooting a laser across the lake, and like if the helicopter was at a certain horizon, you couldn't see the helicopters, and it's like, oh, that's the proof right there. But it was.
I've seen plenty of tests where they have a
was
laser 7
edited.
miles away from the target, and 7 miles away they shoot it and they hit the target. Whereas that's only like a couple meters high. So if you were 7 miles away, then that curvature you wouldn't be able to hit the target.
Well, guess what I'm gonna do when I get to North Carolina, bro?
You dig into that a little more,
dude. I'll make a video just for you.
Ooh, all right.
I'm gonna put the experiment to the test.
There's a ton of them out there. Eric
I want to do it myself. You know? So I'm gonna say, hey, this is it. I did it. Cause I mean, really, like, there's nothing like.
Oh, you mean you're gonna do the test yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
like,
there's big lakes out there.
Yeah,
sure.
Without a doubt. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is, do it. But then there's gonna be all these other people saying, "Oh, I don't know that guy."
Well, I don't care.
Right. Right. I know.
As long as I can do it, and if I physically do that, and I set up everything, because you can set up everything perfectly where it should represent the curvature, and if it shows that there isn't, I mean, I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know the truth.
You know what I had?
They also said that. All right, so you can still see Seattle because the light refracting or it's like curving. It's making the light curve or something like that. Mm-hmm. I've been diving deep into it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I feel like if that just seems fucking obscure. Like, what's it reflect? Is gravity pulling the light down? You know, I don't know. I gotta get.
No, I don't buy it. Yeah. You know, because you're like, oh, it's a mirage and
Mirage.
It's a superior mirage. But then, you know, like the one from the shore of Michigan over to Chicago.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Somebody goes, oh, it's a mirage. Okay, they put up a time lapse of like 7 hours. So you're watching Chicago for 7 hours. And I'm like, a mirage doesn't last 7 hours. Sorry. You know, and then you can see the clouds go, you see boats go by, you see, you know, all these things happen, and then it gets dark and you can see the skyline at night. And it's like, okay, do mirages happen at night too? No. So, you know, so it's just, again, but people need to get off the 6th grade TV programming and go research for themselves. Like I can name one thing after another and people will be like, I don't believe it. And I'm like, go research for yourself. But not one person will go get off their lazy asses and go research themselves.
As of right now, I think it's a wonderful, because I mean, I'm still like a globe person, like for right now, just to say. But I feel like, well, I mean, well, dude, I just haven't, I haven't physically done any testing, and that for me personally, that's my thing, because I don't trust. There's only like 2 people. There's 4 people in this world that I trust, like with anything. My mom, my dad, my 2 sisters. Like those people.
What if I marry one of your sisters and marry into the trust circle?
No. Like
I'm not getting up.
I trust my brothers-in-laws, but
right.
I will never trust them as much as I trust my sisters.
I know.
Like that's just the way life is. Like for me personally.
I think that's great. You shouldn't. You shouldn't even trust them.
I mean, I do.
Like, believe no one. research everything for
Yeah, but
yourself.
I'm
Because
saying, but
they
those-
could be mistaken.
Yeah, without a doubt. But those are the core people that I would like. Those 4 people.
For example, my
But-
mom thinks Trump is a born again Christian. I can't trust my mom, unfortunately. She's as brainwashed as everybody else. You know.
Well, who knows? I don't.
I show her the astronaut Don Pettit saying, you know,
We
we
destroyed
can't
the-
go back to the moon, and we lost all the technology and
We
all
destroyed the technology.
right. We
Yeah.
destroyed it, and my mom says, "Well, I think they went to the moon." Like, wait a minute, why would you even believe that when this guy's telling you that somehow they lost all the information for the biggest discovery in the history, and we've never been back since 1969? And who did we have in power when we went every time to the moon?
JFK.
No, Nixon. I'm not a crook. So we had
no,
a crook.
JFK was right before that. Yeah.
We had a crook in there
JFK,
for
Johnson,
every
then
single
Nixon.
moon landing, and then no other moon landings after him.
Yeah, we're supposed to have like 1,000 times more technology right here than they had in that whole ship and in
Uh-huh.
all of NASA.
Like
right here.
That's right. But we cannot leave low Earth orbit, which is to say we cannot get past, I think it's like 72 miles up. Which is why if you go back and look at all the nuclear testing, they were firing nukes up there a long time ago. And I believe it was to try to break through the firmament. I think they were trying to get through the firmament. I do believe that there's some sort of firmament which gives us our blue color in the sky. I believe there's some sort of...
It's not a refraction of hydrogen, light off of hydrogen.
No, I don't believe that at all.
Or nitrogen.
Because again, where does it go from oxygen into a vacuum?
Yeah. Well,
You know, like what?
the way
What a theory that is, right? Well, it's just enough electromagnetic, or just enough gravity. And again, there's another theory. So you're linking one theory with another theory with another theory, when the truth is that these people, these priests, which are the scientists, are not giving you the information. Because if they wanted to, all you got to do is get a big ass rocket, put about 1,000 GoPros on there, and fire that fucker up. But
right, dude. Like put a ring of GoPros around a rocket, and
they
you can
won't
stitch it.
do it. You know what their lie is? They
And that would cost like $1 million, like tops.
That's it. That's
Tops. I would put $30 into that shit.
Right,
Like
right.
right now, I'm like, do it. I'll put $100 down.
But
Let's
now
do
you
it.
have to get through the what is it, FAA? You know, you gotta there's so many federal hoops you got to jump through in order to fire something up into the air that high. It's not like you can just go do your own test and you think they're really going to give you, you know,
I've seen a bunch of rocket tests, but they never get to the altitude that you would be able to see if there was a curvature.
Right. You've seen the rocket that goes up and then just kind of stops.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, there's just not enough cameras and, you know, like, that could be it, but...
I looked into that. So the one that goes up there and stops, it actually had a mechanism inside of it that spins. So when it launches off... So when it launches, it's already spinning. So while it's spinning, inside of it, it has a mechanism that's counter-spinning.
Okay.
And when it gets to the top, it pops. So then it stops spinning so you can see what everything looks like when you get to the top. Because if it didn't have the mechanism... and it would just keep spinning. So when you got to the top, you couldn't see what was going on around
well,
you.
you could always slow it down. Dude.
I know, but that's slowing it down in editing. But
right.
And you still, when you slow it down in editing, it doesn't make the footage better. So it's better to slow the camera down, and then you get so what they did, it shoots up, it's spinning, and then that mechanism pops and stops it, so the camera slows down, so you can get a better view.
Well, from what they were saying, this is a rocket test, by the way.
Rocket test, yeah.
Look at independent rocket test, and
I'll put a link.
And they shot a rocket up, and they said it hit the firmament. So, and again, you know, there's not enough detail for me to say that I think that's a legitimate test, just because it went up, and then it did just kind of pause in midair. But now you're telling me they had something to make it pause.
Yeah.
But at what point did it fall? Did it ever fall? They never showed like what happened.
I think they recovered
or did it just stay there forever?
What they had to recover.
They never showed the rest of the footage, which is my problem.
Well, they had to recover it because they got the footage. You know what I mean? They had to get the camera. You know, they got the rocket.
Then why did
So,
yeah,
but it might have been so the time it took the footage to the camera to get up there, the battery shouldn't have run out of energy.
well, I was thinking maybe it was a wireless feed.
But either way, you could still have. No, it wasn't wireless. It was. I know what you're saying, but and also with that wireless feed, with it going so fast, you wouldn't be able to get the footage at all.
Oh, and also I was just thinking because I had a friend of mine offer me $30,000 to go to Antarctica. If I went
Do it.
Well, here's the thing: you can't go to Antarctica if you don't know that. You cannot go to Antarctica. You can go to like a tour site that allegedly takes you close to Antarctica, but if you want to do your own trip and go there and explore, you cannot. It's by law you can't go. There is an Antarctica treaty. It's the oldest standing treaty with every single country in the history of the earth, and they all say you cannot go there unless you're a government authorized science project, and nobody's allowed to go. Nobody can do any of their own independent research there.
I think that to a certain extent, I think that's good, just because there's so many not good people out there. Just to think that everybody is like I know what you're saying, like the fact that they are shutting down, but the idea that anybody from any company from anywhere around the world could go there and like cause pollution there or try to set up something.
That's the lie they tell you. First of all,
I'm just giving the opposition. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but I'm saying that's the lie they tell everybody so that everybody says, "Oh, well, okay, they're protecting the Antarctica." Really? Okay. Well, then how come we can't have our own independent exploration? There's a treaty. It's the oldest standing treaty with every country that says you cannot go there. You know, and I mean, it's not like
they're tours, right? Antarctic tours.
Yeah, there's what they tell you. They take you to the little icy part of an island. Who knows where it's at? They tell you where it's at. But again, in my experience and what I seem to think is real is you go east to west and your compass always points north, okay? So north is right there. You go east and west all you want, but nobody has ever circumnavigated the globe north to south. So I say, okay, how come we can't go south until we hit something and then start navigating? Because Captain Cook navigated 60,000 miles Antarctica. Go look up Captain Cook.
Captain Cook.
And he circumnavigated the Antarctica, and it was 60,000 miles around.
That's really close to Hook.
I know. Dun, dun, dun. I wonder why they had that name. So, and he was in Never Never Land. So, you know, he's in this.
Live forever.
That's right. So I think that there's a lot of truth that lies in Antarctica, and I think that's why you have every nation on the planet that has agreed to this treaty, and they'll shoot you down or they'll arrest you if you try to go to Antarctica. And there's plenty of good scientists out there that could go there. For them to say that there's this treaty where you can't go unless you're a military expedition, that's horseshit. That's bullshit. There's not enough people that are going to come. I mean, as far as corporations fishing, fine, then say no fishing. But who's to say that you can't go to a place on the earth? Again, that's taking away freedoms away to keep people stupid. Because you know what? The one we're talking about going to Mars, but how come we've never explored? How come we don't have every inch of the Antarctica mapped out?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. We should totally go below the ocean before we go into outer space. Personally,
yeah.
It's like,
there's pyramids under the ocean too.
Why?
There's pyramids
I didn't know
under
that.
the ocean.
You have to send me that one.
Yeah.
I've seen other statues.
Pyramids. Are you familiar with Coral Castle, by the way?
Mm.
Coral Castle is in Coral Gables, Florida. They are like some of the biggest blocks are 300-ton coral blocks that this guy, I forget the guy's name. He's a Freemason, of course, and legitimately. And
my granddad is too. So I don't know.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
I want to go meet him. But again,
I doubt
your lower
should get
level
anywhere.
Freemasons are, they don't know anything about. They think they're doing charitable work.
I
and
mean, he
they-
does. Like, he's an amazing man that does stuff for orphans. Like, I've actually like been there and helped him do like crazy, like just to
Sure.
feed all these children. Like,
Sure.
I was there.
Sure.
He does. And
But I'm saying
him
the
and-
higher level ones, like
Yeah.
all of your astronauts, every single one of them is a Freemason. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Freemason. Shaquille O'Neal, Freemason.
Yeah, he thinks the world's flat though. Shaquille O'Neal, he's a flat earther.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
for real.
well,
Look him up.
Unfortunately, with Shaquille O'Neal, a lot of people they kind of think he's kind of dumb, so it's possible that it's a good
Nah, he's a
controlled opposition.
businessman. That's what he is, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
I see him. I mean, I still see him on my TV. That means he's making money.
Oh yeah. He's making
It's
money.
like,
Oh, one of the
still make it
best
happen.
MK Ultra mind glitches was Shaquille O'Neal. Look up Shaquille O'Neal MK Ultra mind glitch. He's programmed mentally because he is one of the Illuminati puppets. And there's an interview they're doing with
nice.
like
Does that have to do with
Charles-
Shazam?
No. No, he was on like I want to say like ESPN or Sports Center or something like that. And Charles Barkley's on there, and they're doing it's the whole show. They're doing a sports show, and all of a sudden he's going, and they're talking, and he's frozen, and I'm talking like 7-8 minutes.
Oh man, I want to see this.
It was long. It was so long.
You
And
think I
you're-
YouTube that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could totally YouTube that. I mean, it's no problem. You can
If I find it, I'll put a link below.
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
You're looking at it going, and I mean, he's frozen in time. It's not like he's acting or because he's not an actor. He's like, he's stuck. He's just stuck. Something's got him stuck. And then they cut to something else, and they come back, and he's still. And then little by little, he just kind of comes back little by little. It's literally like you don't have to. There's one with Al Roker does the same thing. He gets stuck. There's a lot of them on there where.
Is it a black dude thing?
No, it's not a black dude thing. No, because there's white mind control people too.
Oh yeah.
And they have glitches too. You can look up mind control glitches, MK Ultra glitches, and I just watched Manchurian Candidate. That's an old movie too. Like, and old is in like maybe 15 years ago or something, and with Denzel Washington. And it was all about implanting chips.
Yeah.
They had a chip
Remember
in
that
their
now.
back, an RFID chip the size of a grain of salt, just like they're putting in people now.
Yeah.
That was in a movie a long time ago,
Yeah.
and now it's a reality.
Yeah.
And they had brain implants that they were putting in there to control the political figures. That was a long time ago. That shit is a reality. But people think it's Hollywood. They're like, oh, because you know what? Truth is stranger than fiction. So,
Yeah.
These Hollywood stories, they give them these stories. They go, look, take this fucked up story, and it's actually the truth because these people are sick. They're sick. They're demonic. It's a satanic, they're satanic pedophiles. They talk about when they do sacrifice the children, they torture them and they terrorize them first because it releases adrenaline into
To
the blood.
Moloch.
To Moloch, yeah, that's one of their pagan gods. And they terrorize them first because it releases adrenaline into the blood, and that way when they drink the blood, the adrenaline helps keep them young.
Dude, I just had a motherfucking mind blown. Like my brain literally just blew right then. Willow. The movie Willow.
Right.
Holy crap. The lady has the baby. It's like crying. She's bound up and she's kills it so she can drink her blood to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. That sounds like something out of a movie.
Hello. Yeah, and this stuff is real. There are women that are their purpose in life is just to breed babies to be used in sacrifices. Plus, if you look at the missing children, everyone wants to complain about racism
this
or
border
this or that.
stuff, I feel like
Right.
there's a lot of children
Sure.
that they're like, oh, they got to pay for DNA tests. You don't know that these people are these children's parents.
Right,
You have no clue, and that's why they're doing DNA tests, because they can just grab children off the street, bring them up here, sell them to anybody. We have no idea who is who. We don't know.
There's literally like 100,000 kids a year that go missing. And that's not on the front page of every newspaper, you know? And it's not on the front page because the media doesn't put it in the front page because they don't want you knowing that all these kids are going missing. And then people would start to go, why are all these children going missing, you know?
What's going on here?
Yeah, what's up? What's up? But, you know, that is a huge part of this. Like, this is an ancient religion. If you go to Bill Cooper's Mystery Babylon, now that's something you can listen to in your trip back home. I don't know if your dad really want to hear it, but it's called Mystery Babylon. And it starts with him documenting all the different pagan religions, starting with...
Oh, yeah, my dad listened to that.
The Brotherhood of the Snake. And he goes through their own documentation and reads and tells you what they believe and how they believe. And then they started the Assassin's Creed. That is actually a secret society. That's not just a video game. So
it comes from somewhere.
Yeah, they started the secret society of the Assassin's Creed specifically to train secret society assassins. So people who know how to keep a secret and people who are experts with poisons and stuff like that, so they could, you know, take people out when they need to take people out and quietly, you know, so it looks like they had a natural heart attack or they naturally hung themselves because they're having a bad day.
Or maybe an helicopter crash.
Or a helicopter
or
crash.
a plane crash.
Or a plane crash.
Like JFK Jr.
Oh, James.
Oh, damn. That's
Yeah.
good. Dude, that's
Dun,
like
dun.
boom, boom. Dude, I just found out a little clip that Trump had some people die in a helicopter crash. I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Wasn't there.
Oh, sure.
It's a long time ago.
Well,
But
JFK, you know, the fuel dump lever had been pulled, and the passenger seat in the plane was missing when they recovered it. The whole passenger seat. So why was the passenger seat missing?
somebody left.
Well, they took somebody out of that passenger seat because JFK had always been known he never would leave without his flight instructor because he wasn't quite completely certified.
They probably killed him and then had blood up there, so they had to get rid of the seat. So they had to take the seat out.
Well, he died in the crash, so they couldn't.
Oh, his body was still there.
Right. So he pulled the fuel dump. He dumped the fuel. That's why they dropped.
Okay.
So again, Manchurian candidate. Okay. So, you know, you have a guy who shows up, and because there was just lie after lie after lie. Again, you can look up Bill Cooper, JFK Jr., and he breaks it down. He got information and original testimony from people before it was butchered by all the media stations, because he talked to the tower guard at Martha's Vineyard, who said he did talk to JFK Jr. right before he landed. When they got to the news channel, they said he didn't talk to him, and then the guy was relieved of duty and no one could find him ever again. But Bill Cooper got to him first, and they have the original part of that interview, and it's spectacular how they hide stuff like that.
Dude, the Titanic, the guy that was in charge of all the safety on the ship got fired the day before it launched.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they didn't have binoculars on the damn boat. Like, there's so much, like, when you look into the details, it's like, what?
Right.
How? No. If these people are educated enough to build this huge, massive engineering feat, it's like they would know how to, like, take care of it, right?
Absolutely.
Like, without a doubt. And these are not stupid people.
Right. People assume that there's mistakes being made everywhere.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, how did we get in this $11 trillion debt? Golly gee winkers. I mean, you know, no, like, it was all by design. You know, why did Bill Clinton sign executive orders to allow all of our manufacturing to go overseas? Was it just a goof? Did he make a goof?
No,
And
it's planned out.
It was planned to completely disseminate the middle class.
Yeah,
Now there's
and that's
no more
totally happening.
it's done. They did it. Like, there really is no middle, because I mean,
Now I think
we're
about it,
we're just finishing up now, because again, the 12 million kids who are living with their parents,
here, man. God damn.
like, that's why people are living with their parents, because the middle class is gone.
Yeah.
The parents still are barely able to hold on to their houses, and the kids, instead of joining the middle class, are now third world children living with their parents, and they don't have jobs, and they never will. So the next generation, when these parents die And now they have new inheritance taxes where they tax your inheritance.
Yes.
So they're quickly removing the possibility of you ever keeping a house or, so they're eliminating the wealth little by little by little by little. Well, I shouldn't say little by little, generation by generation. So in like 2 generations, there's going to be nobody left with private property because you can't afford to have private property. You're going to have to live in a UN micro apartment is what they call it. It's 300 square feet. That's what you deserve. And they have no windows. They have LED lighting.
And we'll give you a universal pay after that, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Everybody's like, I want, what is it called?
It's universal pay.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's another word for it. It's universal something. But anyways, I got a buddy of mine who totally believes in that. Like he believes in, everybody should get like a flat rate, everybody to like exist, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro. And then like the following day, I kid you not, the following day after we had this talk, he posts the fact that he's disgusted that Kylie Jenner is getting free money from people because she's at the 900 million mark and everybody's trying to help her become the first billionaire. And they're just giving her money just so her wealth grows enough to become the first like self-made billionaire. And I'm like, bro,
self-made.
And then I
really self-made.
Right under the picture, I was like, this is what they would spend your universal health care on.
That's right.
I mean, universal payment on. Like, you can't make people make the right decision. That's why I had a buddy with he's talking about this utopia and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, there is no utopia.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a utopia, start following Jesus, go to heaven. Like, if you think there's a utopia on earth, you're fooling yourself because you cannot make people make the right decision.
Correct.
You cannot do that. And
Correct.
For you to do that, you would have to control them. That means you'd have to control everybody. That means you'd have to have an overbearing, authoritative state.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have no free will whatsoever. And people don't grasp. And I feel like, but to a certain extent, sometimes I feel like people totally understand the concept and are going with it. They don't want free will.
No.
And
they feel safe.
Yeah.
From the minute you leave the mother's womb, you're always looking for another womb. I forget what psychologist said that. I want to say like Brzezinski, but
Russian people are usually really smart.
Right, exactly. Well, it's all mind control, and the truth is, you're always looking for the security. You know what I mean? So the minute that you're, and the point of a family, which is why they eradicated the family system, is because families build people up so that they can be secure and go out and be independent and start their own families and then keep. But if you erase the family, then no one's ever going to learn how to grow up and be independent. So they need somebody to fall back on, and the government's going to be that. So, which is what they did with, Germany. They created this artificial boycott, getting the Jewish community to boycott. They got everybody divided. And because they wanted to start Israel, and they wanted the Jewish people in Germany didn't want to leave Germany. They didn't want to go in the middle of Palestine and start kicking people out of their houses.
Going to war.
They were millionaires. Like, there were so many people in Germany that were, happy being there that they didn't want to be there. So they had to manufacture this artificial, anti-Semitism and all this other stuff. And
that's a whole other podcast within itself.
Right,
brother.
right, exactly.
Whoa.
But again, this was all written in 1871. Morals and Dogma. They specifically talked about how they were going to use the Jewish community.
Pike. That's Andrew Pike again, yeah.
So like, that's what they're doing here in this country is they made us into a bunch of fat slobs who thought that everything was handed to you on a silver platter and that there was no danger anymore.
You're entitled.
And if you just go to work and shut up, then everything's going to be fine. And little by little, they start, they built this country so that they can lock it down and make everybody into slaves. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Everybody,
it's going good so far.
It's going very good. Yeah, it's going very good. And most people don't want to wake up.
No.
They're terrified of the idea that maybe what they've been told is not the truth. You know, they're terrified.
They don't want personal responsibility for their choices that they made. Because if you do believe in that narrative, right? So you have to have like some kind of moral. Everybody has a moral compass. So you have to either fall on the idea of that you're allowing other people to make choices for you, and it's like if your compass is already letting people make choices for you, it's like how. It's like nihilism almost. You know what I mean? It's like there is no hope. There is no hope.
That's yeah. Well, and see, you know what? And this is the thing, especially if you even talk to, and I'm sorry for anybody who doesn't believe in God. You know, a lot of people will get turned off when we do say the G word or the J word, and I've got my own ideas about Jesus specifically.
Yeah.
I think he was an enlightened man. I don't necessarily think he was God's
the
Messiah
Son of God.
put into right. Because of many reasons, but that could be a whole nother podcast.
Like Caesar used to be called the Son of God.
Right,
Caesar's,
and they're talking about the S-U-N of God. And that's why on the 23rd, the sun astrologically stops moving its path south for the winter. And 22nd, and on 23rd, 24th, on the third day, 25th, the sun begins its rise for spring. So the sun, S-U-N of God, rises from the dead on the third day of being dead, which is December 25th, which is why the Pope, who's a pagan, that's this summer, winter solstice. I said summer.
It's winter.
Winter solstice.
Yeah.
So that's the celebration for winter solstice on the 25th. And I ask everybody who believes in Jesus, I said, that's your Messiah, right? Yes. Okay. I said, so he is your God, right? And yes. Okay. Why do you celebrate Jesus' birthday on the 25th? Man, I can celebrate his birthday tomorrow. That doesn't matter. I said, it does matter. How do you have the Messiah and think you know everything about organized religion, but you can't tell me why you celebrate on the 25th? I know why you celebrate on the 25th.
Because that's when the three wise men followed the star.
That's right.
And went to Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
And
the three wise men is a constellation, by the way. So again, these are all astrology terms. If you go into the zodiac and astrology, the whole story of Jesus can be, and the Virgin Mary, all that stuff can be explained in the stars. So, and it's talking about the equinoxes, the ages. There's talk about the coming of the age. You know, the earth will end at the end of the age. And so there's the zodiac is something to be explored. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole. But just talking about, you know, like just God in general, when people, even forgot what the original thought was now. Oh, what was I saying?
Oh, yeah, we just started talking about the G-O-D.
I
You get all wound up.
I got all wound up.
Stars. Well, we're talking about.
I grew up in church. That's why. Like I went to Christian middle school, Christian high school,
We're talking
Christian
about
university.
believing in Jesus. We're talking about the sun going down. I'm just trying to help you get back on the
Right,
path.
I know.
I don't know.
Play the tape back, Bob. Anyway, all right. I don't know what I did with that one. I
But I think there's so much truth in the Bible, and people should read it every day. Personally.
There's definitely
or listen
good
to
life lessons in there,
Yeah.
but again, like the whole 80-20 thing, there's 80% good stuff, and then there's 20% like Jesus said.
It's rhetoric. There's some rhetoric in there.
Rhetoric and murderous stuff in there, and all kinds of, lots of fornication and sodomy and you name it. It's in there.
If you hate Nazis, you need to really think about why you hate them. That's what I think. We need to have a. Well, I think I'll not have that.
Oh, that's right. We were kind of talking about Germany and blah, blah, blah.
Like the reason why. Well, I mean, oh no, that's. I'll save that can of worms until I get back to North Carolina. To be honest with you, there's not a place to have that conversation here.
We'll have to do a Skype.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's the Iron Mountain report. That's one other thing that you can check out. The Iron Mountain report that JFK ordered back in the 60s. That came out after he died, and Lyndon Johnson would not release it to the public because of the information contained within. The Iron Mountain report specifically talked about war is getting old. We've been warring since the beginning of time, and people are getting to the point like we need something new, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't just keep having wars because everyone's like, this is another fucking war. Although I tell you what, war seems to be working because nobody over here seems to really care that they're bombing Syria. You know, they're like, well, just send them over here then. Really, is that the answer?
Yeah.
You know, just keep bombing them, but just send those that don't want to be bombed over here.
Yeah.
And then we'll complain about overpopulation.
Let's talk to Sweden about that before you know.
Right. Exactly. And then you talk to Swedish people who are brainwashed and said, "There's nothing wrong, nothing going on here." I'm like, really?
Oh, by the way, I got to get home right now.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Rape is like 3,000% higher. But then
send the Swedish girls here, man. Just send all the Swedish girls here. That's all. That's what should happen. We need to immigrate.
Let's
the
go
Swedish
bomb
girls.
Sweden just so the Swedish girls.
Yes, hashtag bomb Sweden. That's when I post this. That's what I'm posting.
Hashtag bomb Sweden.
Yes.
Yes. So it's called forced migration.
Yeah.
And there's actually a great video online called Forced Migration.
It's like gentrification. That's all it is, dude. It's like they're taking because the people with bombs have a lot of money, so because they can buy bombs and then they can throw it at these people and make these people leave. They take over their land. It's gentrification. It's forced gentrification.
Gentrification? That's not a word.
Or the one when you move people out of their damn houses.
Oh, I didn't.
Gentrification. What here?
Here's your phone.
Look up the damn word. All right.
Gentrification. But no, forced immigration. If you look at it, and the funny thing is, like they were going through the whole scenario, how the forced immigration, like here, is always trying. They use diversify, right? But they keep trying to bring all kinds of people over here. They've opened the borders from Mexico. I mean, they're open. Like even the Border Patrol. The vice president of the Border Patrol Union said that they're no longer allowed to arrest people.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. We're going to read new definition.
Gentrification, like I said. All right. The process of renovating or improving a house or district so that it conforms to middle-class taste. But I feel like what they're doing, they're just fucking...
It's not middle class. It's third world.
Yeah. It's just... but it's still the same concept. It's still richer people... pushing out poorer people.
Yes.
Like that's all it is. They just call it a different word.
Or maybe they're saying middle class so they don't scare the shit out of everybody. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
No, really, because dude, definitions are changing every day.
Oh, absolutely.
On your phone.
Absolutely.
I saw this video. This guy was talking about fascism. You know, he looked in a dictionary from like the 1960s, and it was like totally different than what it is now.
Oh yeah. And all your old books, they are disappearing at an alarming rate.
I've been collecting a whole bunch of old books. It's been nice.
Better get a safe, because they're gonna burn it. There's a new movie out called Fahrenheit 451 where the firemen are burning books.
What?
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? I was like, what a realistic movie.
Now it feels like Nazism.
Yeah.
But that's what's so crazy is like people don't see, like Nazis were socialists and you're calling people Nazis and you are a Nazi. Like they don't see that they're the exact same. They are the thing that they are fighting against.
Yes.
They don't see it.
No.
And it baffles my brain, dude.
It does.
And I think,
it
dude,
hurts. It really hurts.
swear to God, I think it's an IQ thing. I really think
Fluoride
it's an IQ.
lowers your IQ.
I really think it's an IQ. Like they really can't think. Like they can't think.
They can't. They cannot think. Fluoride is admitted by the Supreme Court to the EPA that it's officially a neurotoxin. Fluoride lowers your IQ. Hitler used fluoride in his concentration camp. Stalin used fluoride in his re-education camps. And now every city in America is fluoridated. Every single city. I distill my water. You should see the shit I pull out of my water.
It's crazy.
If I was drinking that every day like I used to be, eventually it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, dude, I'm sweating balls. We have to cut this one because I have another thing I have to go do too.
Very cool.
I got to shoot a Beyond the Pavement. Check it out. All right, so let's go live for a little bit.
Okay.
Fast. Woo. Damn, that's a long talk. Which is a good thing.
I know. I really enjoy it. Maybe we can Skype or something.
Damn. Is it still running? Damn, it still runs. It's hot though.
Woohoo! Hot.
It is hot.
Yeah, dude's panting. Is it hot, buddy? Yeah? You want some ice on your no balls?
On your no balls.
Ice on the no balls.
All
right, let's hope this goes on.
I think your camera's in wide mode. My face looks kind of fat.
Sure, we'll just say that's the problem.
All right, hold on. Let's. I think we're going live. All right, ready and welcome back to What Do You Believe? Today I have Mr. Ryan Thor.
En la casa.
And we also have right behind me, woo, Mr. Prince Dude Man. Check him out.
Come here. He's here.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy. Oh,
Yeah, he's like, I'm hot. It's kind of hot in here, but I have the air conditioner on, and
it's
I
noisy.
don't have
Right.
the air conditioner on.
It was on and it
'Cause
was a little noisy.
Yeah, it was
so-
too noisy. Can you guys hear me? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes to make sure before we get really rolling on this.
Oh, no middle
Oh,
finger.
I got a thumbs up. Okay, cool. So Ryan and I did like 2 hours. Oh my God,
Has it been that long?
we got so carried away. We got so carried away in what we were talking about. It was deep, man. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. But we initially started out talking about, I don't know if you guys know HAARP. The HAARP
High
project.
Altitude Aurora Research Project, HAARP.
Yeah. Like I've heard some stuff about it and seen YouTube videos, and I was like, man, does this stuff really exist? You know, is it real? And then we've been talking about that, and it exists. It's real, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. What is our government doing? Hey, Joan, how you doing? Hey, Andrew and Lee. What's up, David? So we're trying to figure out what HAARP was doing. We talked a little about that, but we also got into like almost everything.
That's right.
We covered almost the possible spectrum of all the deepest stuff of what life is all about. Like it got deep fast. We talked a lot about JFK Jr. too.
Yeah.
And how his plane crashed mysteriously.
You know, and the one thing I was saying was that everybody needs to. Yeah, you think you're entertained by watching TV, but actually, you know, truth is stranger than fiction. Truth is more fascinating than fiction. And if you go out there and actually research for yourself, you'll find that there's fascinating subjects that are actually true. And those who know history are a little bit less likely to repeat it. And that's the problem with this country right now is nobody has studied the true history. They learn what's in a book and they think they're done, and then they move on to their sitcoms. And
well, I mean, we all get our I get my information from a book, you know.
you know what? Older books. And then you got to sift through the books. But one way, we have the internet these days. So, and I know everybody's like, oh, well, YouTube, you can't believe everything. You're right. You can't believe everything. You got to cross-reference things. There's sometimes I'll pause at YouTube. I'll go research something else. And then I'll go research, you know, and before you know it, just like our talks, we're on like 3 different subjects down the road. I'm like, no way. You know, but that's how this research goes. Because if you look into JFK Jr., I mean, it's obvious to see that he was murdered. You know? And just like
he was
that.
murdered. We also talked about some weather, like NASA creating weather and cloud seeding and all that kind of stuff. And what's the difference between a chemtrail and cloud seeding? I think it's the same thing, but you know.
And that was, the NASA has these huge factories that create clouds. And I mean, they have like taken over 1,000 square mile areas where they will actually pump hydrogen and oxygen into the atmosphere, and
it'll rain.
I mean, I'm talking huge clouds, and they got all kinds of these things.
They make it rain like T-Pain.
That's right. Boom, boom. So, you know, you have the weather control capabilities, and even JFK talked about it a long time ago, and they talk about it now. If you look up weather control and you actually research weather control, man-made weather control, they create hurricanes, they can create earthquakes, they can create volcanoes, Hawaii. And so why is it important for us to know that they're creating weather? Well, it's weather warfare. You know, you can't, it's tough to fight an enemy when you're not even realizing that, you know, you're being under attack.
I never got in a fight with the tornado.
No.
But I figured it would suck because I seen Twister.
That Twister was gnarly, man. They throw cows at you.
Yeah, I wanted to like be a storm chaser when I watched Twister. I was like, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. What's that dude's name? The lead
Oh,
guy. He
Bill
died.
Paxton, yeah.
Bill Paxton. He was awesome, man. I love Bill Paxton. I wish I would have been able to met him. He seemed cool.
Yeah, there's another suspicious death for you. And
Yeah,
how
right.
weird.
So, hey Lee, how you doing? Ruben, Paco, what's going on?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm here with Ryan, Prince Dude Man. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're in North Carolina, make sure you stop by Moore's Barbecue. Pick you up some Moore's Barbecue and some banana pudding. It's so good.
Oh, that's a good plug. Okay, Moore's, huh?
Moore's
All right.
Barbecue. Yeah, if you're in North Carolina, hit that place up.
Yeehaw. I like it.
And yeah, what else would we talk about
Well,
today?
and the main thing was, with the chemtrails and, spraying.
Or cloud seeding.
Well, cloud seeding.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't see the difference in that. Like, what's the difference between a chemtrail?
They can mix it all together. So they can mix in cloud seeding along with the nanoparticulates. They spray. Let's see. They
put what they want you to believe in books. Yep, not all books, but a lot, in my opinion. Yeah, I hear you, David. That's right. It's all about finding who's writing the books, and is it happening? Is what they're, because it's like a biblical thing. It's like Jesus was saying, you will know my prophets. Like if whatever they're saying is coming true, and if what they say doesn't come true, then obviously they're a false prophet.
Right.
But these people are like, they're obviously telling you what's about to happen.
Well, even Hitler said, "You give me the books, I'll control a nation."
Yeah.
So
Burn all the rest.
Burn the rest. Keep mine, but burn all the rest. And that's what they do, especially with even documentaries like Discovery and those type of documentaries. I don't watch any of the mainstream. I mean, I watch them to find out what they have to say, and a lot of them it's interesting because I've already studied. But there's a lot of independent researchers, even scientists, even just normal Joes that go out there and prove or disprove different theories, and you can find a lot of information on that just by going through these YouTubes and find out what is true and find out what is. Don't just watch one and be like, screw that guy.
Well,
you know what I mean? Watch like 4 or 5 different ones of different, sides and see what you believe.
Yeah, and through science, you should be able to replicate and get the same exact results every single time if it's scientifically proven. It should never, ever deviate whatsoever. If something is scientifically proven, it should never deviate. Ever.
That's right. But today's science is consensus. If you can get a bunch of your buddies together to agree with each other, and and paid for science, that's what. And it's all theory this, theory that. Nobody's out there doing mathematical science anymore. It seems to be a thing of the past.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they are, but it's like their numbers. It's like, oh yeah,
right, exactly.
Look at this graph.
That's exactly right.
See this line? It means you're gonna die. So give me money.
Right, exactly. It's this hocus pocus of mathematical jargon, and they tell you believe it, and because you don't understand it, you go, all right, I guess they're right. They're the scientists.
Well, with that, so you would think though there are good people, because I think you seem like a cool guy, and I feel like I'm a cool guy. So
I'm pretty sure.
So I mean, there has to be a force of good out there along with this disinformation. So how do you decipher between the good information and the disinformation that's leading you astray?
That's a great question. And for me, I use my intuition, and I look at all the things, because I've learned. Everybody goes, how could you're insane, this says this and that's, and I'm like, I've read all that. Like, I grew up with the same indoctrination as everybody else. I only woke up about like 3.5 years ago. So up until 3.5 years ago, I thought the world was round. I thought
I still think the world was round. Just throw that in there.
Yeah. And I still thought that politics were real. I thought, we just had this guy wasn't so good and this guy was better, and gee whiz, they just can't budget balance their budget like these silly folks. And now I realize it's all by design.
I'm getting closer
America.
to believing that more and more every day.
Yeah.
I'm like 98 right now. I'm not 100%. Like.
I wanted to say,
what's up?
Gosh, who was
David?
it? David, maybe. He said, "Do you trust cloud seeding?" I don't know what you mean by "do you trust it?" cloud seeding's real. They talked about it back in the 50s and 60s. It was used in Vietnam to rain out the enemies. You can go online and look.
He believes that it's there. He's just saying, do you trust it?
Do I trust? No, I don't think they should mess with. I don't think they should be spraying anything or doing anything up there. Although I will say this, since they're letting, and by the way, they are letting the fires happen in California. They are burning it's called rural cleansing. So if they burn all the rural areas out, then they push everybody into the cities where they can be controlled. So for cloud seeding, I would say if you really believe that these fires were an accident and just, gee whiz, it's just really hot out there. Well, they could use the cloud seeding and make it rain, and it would not burn all summer long, you know. And anytime they said, well, we have a high alert today, make it rain, you know, because they can make it rain.
But we're in a closed system, so there's only a certain amount of moisture in the air, right?
No, because we have the factories that are pumping out all the clouds in its moisture. So they can pump out clouds with moisture in it, and then they can see those clouds and make them rain. So they can make as much precipitation as they want. They can pull it off of the ocean too if they want to. So they can make it rain anywhere at any time.
So if the water level is rising from global warming, then they could just make more clouds.
Right, just keep it all up there. So it's not here.
Just keep pumping it up, right?
Well, and again, I believe it's the nanoparticles that they're spraying in the air along with the HAARP. HAARP is a 1 trillion watt laser, by the way, or not laser, but it's a 1 trillion watt antenna that shoots 1 trillion watts of electricity.
Radio frequencies too, like
radio frequencies, right? So what happens when you radiate metal? It heats up, so they can heat everything up. What's that last one?
Andrew says, would you drink the water from cloud seeding? I would not. I wouldn't want to eat the food either. And Ruben says, what about all the plastic in the environment? I agree, Ruben. We should totally get rid of plastic. We should grow more hemp. You can actually make bags from hemp. And you can, instead of drilling dirt, you know, it creates oxygen and all that kind of stuff. Look into lazy gator farms in Kinston, North Carolina, or Sandy Bottom, North Carolina.
You can look up Henry Ford made a hemp car made structurally from hemp that ran on hemp seed. Henry Ford did back in the 50s. And then somebody else just said, would you drink the rain from cloud seeding? No, I wouldn't drink the rain from non-cloud seeding because they're still spraying nanoparticulates in the air, and even NASA admitted to spraying lithium in the air. And there's also, if you look up Army test, atmospheric test, you can find out that they've sprayed all kinds of things in the air to test on cities. Like St. Louis had a pretty famous case where they sprayed, I can't remember what it was, the flu or something, and they got sued for it. But of course, you don't win against a suit against the Army.
What's up, Josh? How you doing? It's good to see you joining us today. David said, but that wouldn't work here. The fronts move offshore here unless they can change the wind directions up here. Yeah. But you see, also, I feel you on that, but you also have, like, China and Russia also have this technology as well. So if, like, it's just like with nuclear power, if they have nukes or we have nukes or whoever has nukes, it's like you have to keep up with the Joneses. And that's something we covered. It's like with our, like, if they can make hurricanes that fall on us, we should be able to make hurricanes that fall on them.
Well, and this is where the collusion of everything. Shakespeare said, "All the world is a stage," and that's what I'm saying.
All players.
When I said political drama between, you know, all your political leaders are all in it together, I'm talking about all political leaders. Kim Jong-un, Putin, they're all part of the whole grand deception. This has been going on, you know, that's what we talked about. This is an ancient religious battle, you know. This is an ancient religion, ancient paganism, worshiping the sun god, and, you know, the Pope carrying a sun staff. Everybody go Google Pope sun staff. Why would the Pope have a sun staff? Well, because they're sun worshippers.
Well, he's the light of Jesus, or something like that. I don't know. Jesus is the truth, the way, and the light. Right.
If you look at a lot of images of Jesus too, he has sun rays coming out from his.
He's holy.
Right. You know, that's what they say. There's this aura around his head.
Well, that's his electromagnetic aura.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And as far as the fronts move offshore here unless they change the wind direction, that's exactly what they do with HAARP. Remember, they can heat up certain areas of the atmosphere and they can change the flow. Okay, so they can push it over this way, they can push it over that way. These are trillion-watt antennas, and there's more than one station. There's stations all over the place. There's in Texas, there's in Alaska, and now they're building a new, like, 100-time bigger one. I think it was in Denmark, if I didn't get that wrong. So
We'll put some links. Just make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out HAARP. Look into it because you're paying for it. Your tax dollars are paying for this technology, and it's not cheap.
No.
Just so you know. So
and just simply go research, go to YouTube and controlling the weather, man-made weather control. Spend an hour out of your life looking through that. And you will see all this stuff is documented. Even this physicist, he was watching when I walked in. He was watching a physicist who was on Fox or CBS. I can't remember which network it was. Basically talking about, he said, yeah, they have lasers that they shoot up and they control the weather. He said, we've been doing it since the 70s in the Vietnam. And then just then the lady goes, allegedly. The newscaster. And he goes, yeah, allegedly. And he's like, so we can control the weather. And she goes, allegedly. He goes, oh, yes, allegedly. So they admit it to you, on national TV. But how many people are actually awake and go, wait a minute, what did they just say? We've had all these massive hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes in Hawaii, but nobody's concerned about man-made weather control?
Well,
you should be.
Well, those things have to happen naturally in some spectrum. But it's good to find out. It's good to ask and to know and to really find out. That's what we're doing. We're talking about, what we believe in and what we need to believe in. You know what I mean? And we'd like to thank everybody for joining us on What Do You Believe. I got to cut this sucker short. Almost 3 hours.
I know. Well, hey, it's good talking.
It's good, yeah. Make sure you join in on the next episode of What Do You Believe, and I'll post the full episode later on this evening. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Prince Dude, man, for stopping by. Yeah. Woo. I'm about to turn the air conditioner on. Man, I'm telling you, it's hot.
I know, I'm
all right,
sweating.
Y'all take it easy and have a good day.
Have a good one.